Steve, the Cookout Coach, and you're listening to the BBQ Central Show.
Start the game! Let's go!
We'll do it live. Okay. Well, do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh, should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
Welcome to the really big BBQ Central Show. A show that talks about all things important to the world of barbecue and grilling. Originating from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I'm your program host, Greg Rippey. Happy to have you right here during these 120 minutes of live fire talk. If you want to jump in on the show tonight for a phone call or an email, you can do it this way.
You can get in touch with the show by calling 216-220-0966. Email Greg at the BBQCentralShow.com. On the Twitter and Instagrams at BBQ Central Show.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening coming up in about 13 minutes from now. We are now in the month of August. It's the first Tuesday of the month of August. And you know what that means? We will be visited by the creator of How to Barbecue Right, also the pitmaster of Killer Hogs barbecue competition team. Malcom Reed will be joining me. No video tonight for Malcom. He is in transit, and I'm not going to get any further into that unless you are also a fan of his podcast and you've listened to the most recent episode. And I think he releases on Fridays or Saturdays, so if you're keeping up with all the latest releases of Live Fire podcasts, and you probably know what he's up to. But I'm just going to pretend like nobody else is listening to anything else. You aren't caught up. And we will get all caught up together in about 12 minutes from now when we talk with Malcom Reed. Plus, he has recently vacationed in Jamaica, a place I would never go. I would never do it. But we'll talk to him about that. Also about his latest recipe, which is the Mississippi Po' Boy. And maybe he can give us a little info on that sandwich itself and the roots. If there's a traditional po' boy sandwich and then there's different kinds of avenues to splinter off of that sandwich, like the basic. So plenty to talk to as it relates to Malcom Reed from How to Barbecue Right. Then we will move to the 35 past the hour segment, where we'll be rejoined. Oh, my Lord. Tonight's a tough one to talk, evidently, where we will be joined by a barbecue Hall of Famer, a multiple-time barbecue and grilling cookbook author, a long-time tenured chef, corporate chef for Big Green Egg. He is also having some new things going on. And most importantly, dynamically loyal friend of this show, Dr. Barbecue Ray Lampe rejoins us. Excited to talk to Ray. We'll also get caught up on the restaurant stuff that's going on in Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater area. So excited to talk to Ray and play some catch up there. We'll move to the second hour after Ray because it is the first Tuesday of the month. We also have an additional first Tuesday of the month regular guest. And that, of course, is Sam the Cooking Guy. And Sam missed last month. He had some scheduling conflicts. We were able to make do. However, always gracious and happy to have Sam. I'm gracious that he's coming on the show. To have him back on, and we're going to be talking about restaurant stuff. We're going to be talking about opportunities of restaurants. We're going to be talking about scalloped potatoes that just might change your life. We also might be talking about some other food-related items as well. By the way, if you're going to be out in the San Diego area and you know where that Little Italy Food Mart is, Not Tacos is out there. The second restaurant, which is just recently opened, Gray's, is also there, like right across the walkway or the fountain, whatever you want to call it. But if you're looking for an insiders area, hold on. Okay. We have to change that, but that's all right. If you're looking for a inside scoop or somewhere to eat, then that's where you want to check out if you're in that general area. So catching up with Sam, the cooking guy, at 14 past the second hour. Then we'll move to the closeout segment. And if you are any type of backyard barbecue enthusiast and you love pellet grills, you know the hottest thing on the market over the last couple weeks, good, bad, and indifferent, has been the Weber SmokeFire. We talked about it last week in the embedded correspondence segment. Derek Richards had some takes on it, and I was chasing the grill master for Weber Corporate, Kevin Coleman, and I have finally chased him down, and he will help me close out the show at 10:35. And we will talk about Weber SmokeFire. I will go through and ask him a myriad of questions that I have accumulated after I have done my own research on these Facebook groups that are dedicated to the Weber SmokeFire. And I'm going to be brutally honest here. A lot of the stuff that I'm going to be asking about is not necessarily positive. And the way that I want to do this, or the reason that I'm doing this, is because we want to weed out what's crap and what's legitimate. The thing that we talked about last week was, how do things get out of control with social media? When will you hear positive? When will you hear negative? What can we filter, or how can we filter through? And certainly no better way to filter what's a legitimate concern with the SmokeFire and what is not a legitimate concern with SmokeFire than talking with the guy himself, Kevin Coleman. So that's how we're going to close it out. 216-220-0966 is the phone number. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com is the email address if you want to write in. Don't forget, you can follow me socially at BBQ Central Show on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, /BBQ Central Show on Facebook. There's also a live video feed on Facebook, also one on YouTube, and one on Periscope, which is Twitter's video feed, so you can get at me there. Also, just audio only on TuneIn. You can find out all the different places right there on the main website and right at the top in big buttons. So obviously, lots of reaction to last week, especially as it relates to the top of the second hour, when I fielded a phone call from somebody who proclaimed himself to be a large Instagram influencer, a huge Instagram influencer. His name was Smokey, or at least that's what he called himself, and maybe that's his handle. I've been seeing him show up on Instagram, as he had mentioned, at Smokey BBQ, I think was the handle, if you check it out. And the reaction was fast and furious, obviously, as I was gauging in the chat. A lot of people were finding it interesting, finding it hilarious. Little sample of emails that trickled in over the course of the week. Tim in Indianapolis wrote, "Was that a real phone call? That was insane." Tim, that was a real phone call. Mike in South Carolina wrote, "Do you think it was funny talking about someone jumping from a bridge? I don't." Mike, we try on this show. If we're not funny all the time, forgive us. We're attempting. We're trying. We're continuing to push the envelope. All the different cliches here. I apologize if you have had members of your immediate, expanded, or otherwise friends, neighbors, or network of somebody that might have jumped off a bridge and it's touching a nerve with you. But hey, do I think it was funny about talking about someone jumping from a bridge? Yes, it was funny. Come on, it was fun. Travis in Texas, keeping the SmokeFire in the box and then putting it in your baby's room for safekeeping sounds like a terrible idea. Glad Smokey jumped. The bigger question on all of this, whether you thought Smokey's call into the show was the best thing ever, whether you thought Smokey's call into the show was the worst thing ever, and there was probably not too much in between there. It probably wasn't like ho-hum. You probably loved it or you hated it. I don't think 47 followers quantifies or qualifies anybody as a influencer on the social medias. And also, if you're afraid of something combusting, grill, clothes, medicine, whatever, I wouldn't suggest keeping it in a box and then sticking it in your baby's room for safekeeping. And as Travis said, because of that line of reasoning, he's happy that Smokey jumped off the bridge. Now, what I cannot confirm, of course, is did Smokey make it down to the end of the bridge? Or did he not? Could there be future phone calls from Smokey coming in? Time will tell. What I can tell you is that Malcom Reed will be coming up as soon as I get done talking to you about the Barbecue Guru. Barbecue Guru is making outdoor cooking fun again because it can be and it should be. If you've always thought about automatic temperature control devices, the Barbecue Guru is the company that started it all. A lot of others have come and gone. The Barbecue Guru continues to remain in the lead, much like the show. A lot of others have come and gone. The Barbecue Central Show continues to press the envelope. So does the Barbecue Guru when it comes to automatic temperature control technology. Whatever level of tech and access you want, they have a model ready for you. If you cook on ceramic cookers, bullet styles, kettles, even offset cookers, they have something that will match up to you. If you have any questions about what you need to order, you call in and ask them all your questions, and they will make sure that you have exactly what you need to get you up and running as it ships to your door. BBQGuru.com is the website. The number is 800-288-GURU. That's 800-288-GURU. Okay? Now, accessories. Not a huge amount of accessories, but the accessories that they're offering are certainly bringing value to a ceramic cooker. By the way, they do sell cookers, right? The Monolith that I've talked about for a number of months here on the show. The world's first ceramic cooker with a built-in induction fan right there in the cooker. Nobody else is doing that. Hook your Barbecue Guru controller up to that fan and away you go. They also have the Shotgun Cooker, named after company founder Shotgun Fred. Bunch of different stuff to meet the needs, make you better outdoor barbecue. Again, the website, bbqguru.com, and the phone number is 800-288-GURU. 800-288-GURU. Barbecue Guru continues to be a breakthrough in barbecue technology. Malcom Reed coming up out of the break. Stick around. Be right back.
Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Hey, welcome back. This portion of the show is being brought to you by Butcher Barbecue, makers of award-winning injections, marinades, rubs, seasonings, barbecue sauces, grilling oils. All the Butcher Barbecue products have been tested on the competition circuit, as well as in backyards worldwide. Be the pitmaster of your neighborhood and visit butcherbbq.com to stock up now. Butcher's Barbecue, always trust your butcher. First Tuesday of the month means we are taking a visit from the pitmaster of Killer Hogs Barbecue and co-founder of How to Barbecue Right. That, of course, being Malcom Reed. Hey, Mal.
What's happening, Greg?
So I was teasing as we were leading into this segment that we're not going to be finding you in your usual haunts. I was actually planning. I had a whole picture of you. And, well, actually, this is originally how I thought the segment was going to look right here. It was going to be a nice picture of Malcom Reed there with a whole hog. But you had got me right as we were going into the break that you were going to be available through Skype. So I figured we'd give this a shot. You are in transit, as they say. But before we get into any of that, as we look back at last month's visit and my vitriol for Bloody Mary contest, does Rochelle hate me for dumping on the Bloody Mary contest in general last month, or were you able to shield me from any of that?
No, man. She not at all.
All right. So as I had
She's
mentioned,
cool with it.
you are in transit, as they say. So I think for the last couple visits, we didn't talk about it every month, but we had talked about it a couple different times. You were given the blessing from Michelle that if you wanted to go look for a barbecue trailer, it was on you. There was all of your decisions to be made and who you're going to use and how you're going to lay out all the good stuff. And now we've come to the fruition point, and you're in the midst of either coming back or going to get it. So kind of pick up the ball from there and let us know what's going on.
Yeah, I think this process, man, it started last November, something like that.
Yeah.
When I finally pulled the trigger and I ordered a Southern Dimensions barbecue trailer. My man Tracy down in Waycross, Georgia, built it for me, and it's been ready for a few weeks. I was waiting on a cooker to come in down there from Old Hickory Pits, and he got it mounted on, and it's ready to pick up. So now I'm down in Southeast Georgia in a hotel about an hour out from SDG Trailers, and I'll be there in the morning to pick it up. So I plan to post some pics tomorrow on my Instagram or something. It's rained the whole way, Greg, so I don't know what it's going to be like tomorrow. So hopefully the weather will be all right.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like a 6-7-year-old on Christmas and 1 being as indifferent as you possibly could be, I mean, how excited are you at this point?
Oh, man, I'm extremely excited. Yeah, I'm excited as a 6-year-old on Christmas. I'm getting a brand new barbecue trailer, man. I hadn't had one in many, many, many years.
Well, I remember you saying that on one of the podcasts over the last couple months, that you've been using the same trailer forever, and that this was finally a step in a new direction, if you will, pardon the pun. But when you're doing research, and I'm sure you're talking to a bunch of people, trailers have obviously grown in popularity amongst not only competition cooks, but folks that are getting into some type of food vending or, restaurant style stuff without having to get the brick and mortar restaurant. You're a little bit more mobile. How do you go about figuring out who you're going to use? And then once you decided, what additional vetting did you do in order to make sure that you felt as comfortable as you could be with such a purchase?
Well, I pretty much checked out some trailers that Tracy had built before. That was kind of my deciding point, and looking at craftsmanship. And there's a lot of great barbecue rigs out there, from porch trailers to concession type trailers that you can get into business with. And I just felt like that he was building quality trailers from the ground up. He's had a lot of experience. He mainly builds concession style trailers, which are way more custom than what I got. And so, he built a few for some buddies of mine, and I really like those trailers. So I just decided I was going to go with him and go from there.
Now, when you are in the initial planning phases, and I recall that you had given him an idea or drawing, and then he kind of turns it around into something that's really three-dimensional and gives you quite a detailed look at how your idea is actually going to come to life before he actually puts it together. So is this like a cooker in a sense? As you are putting it together, obviously there's at least some kind of a rudimentary budget number that you think you want to stick around, but as things start to get together and there are suggestions being made and you want a living quarter, maybe you want hot water here, you want some refrigeration. I mean, the money starts adding up, and I would imagine the till starts spinning pretty quickly. Is it like a cooker to a certain degree where you do want to spend a little bit more now instead of getting it back home and going, I wish I would have done this. I wish I got this. I wish I would have had 6 more feet. How does that correlate?
That's, you're pretty much all over it. I mean, I've been around barbecue trailers, and I've had the same one for many years, but I knew what I wanted. I knew about what the trailer was going to cost, so there really wasn't a sticker shock. It's basically like we're buying almost like a camper style work and play, if you've ever seen those. This is just more of a custom one fitted to my needs instead of just buying something like off a factory. And so I knew that I needed so much cooking space in the back. I wanted so much prep space, but I really wanted living quarters so we could be comfortable at contest. And so, Waylon and I would be comfortable, but more so that when Rochelle went with us, that she wouldn't complain, or she would be happy too, which lets me cook more contests or do more stuff. So it kind of, it fits all those bills. And it's, I upgraded it. I got some, some pretty cool lights put on it. Got an automatic awning on it. I've got it split up for some extra storage in the nose. I spent a little, I got an electric jack for the first time. So I'm like a kid in a candy store, man. I think it's great. I'm excited about our trailer.
How many people can it sleep, I guess, comfortably and uncomfortably if you had to?
Comfortably, I would say 4. And if you doubled up on a couple of beds, you probably could get 6 smaller than me people in it.
All right. So that's got a pretty good capacity for sleeping.
Yeah. It's got, I know you've probably seen the RV style couches that fold out and kind of what they call an RV full size bed. And then I've got another bed and some bunk beds too. So it's got some space for the footprint it has.
So when you get there tomorrow, is it going to be a quick turn and burn, or do you spend all day there, or are you trying to walk through it? You kind of do a quick sign off and then hook it up and away you go.
Well, I wanted to come and I wanted to kind of check out Tracy's operation over there and hope to, spend a little time with him. Of course, I'm trying to get back tomorrow, and it's about 9.5 hours for us. So I'd love to get over there in the morning and get back on the road by, lunch or so. That way it's not too late getting in. But yeah, I'm gonna look around. Hopefully the weather will work. I definitely wanted to go through the trailer, put my eyes on it. That's why I came over instead of just having it delivered. I wanted to, see firsthand if there was anything that needed to be fixed before I take ownership of it. But, Tracy assures me that everything's, every T's crossed and I's dotted. So I'm trusting him too.
Malcom Reed joining me here on the show. How to BBQ Right is the website. Obviously, you can subscribe on YouTube. And I believe at last count, as I checked earlier, 839,000 subscribers. So we are inching towards the million mark ever so quickly. Malcom, let me ask the douchebag question here because everybody's become accustomed to it. All said and done, all in on the trailer, how much are we boning out?
35.
35. All right. That's a man's game number right there. Somebody in the instant. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say it's not much more than a nice fifth wheel trailer that you would buy to go camping or something in. The way I'm looking at it, so I could use it for that if I wanted to. I just happen to have a big cooker on the back.
That's right. So one of the guys in the instant chat said at 35 grand you'd have to win 3,247 contests in order to pay for that. But barbecue contests aren't known for having huge payouts anyway. So quickly pushing this into service, or do you have some time to get it all set up and feeling it out before you get to a contest?
I've got a contest at the end of the month in Savannah, Tennessee. First KCBS of the year. I think it's the 27th, 28th. Tennessee River Battle, I think it's called, in Savannah, Tennessee. It's going to be a fun one.
All right, so you got roughly 2.5 to 3 weeks to get it all set up. Are you plan it out like that to give yourself a little bit of time to get acclimated with the inner workings so you can be very efficient at that first contest?
Yeah, I definitely got to get that pit season, man. I don't want to go in with the brand new pit, so I've got to get some smoke in it. And by the time I get my equipment in there and get it stocked and get my beds ready and all that good stuff, man, give me some shampoo and soap and all in the new shower. Make sure all that works.
Wow, it's full service deal, right?
Full service, man. It's gonna be a hotel on wheels.
Secret liquor cabinet somewhere?
Oh yeah, I've got plenty of storage for the brown water.
That's right. Malcom Reed joining us here on the show. So do trailers, and aside from the first one, which obviously you've had for quite a while, do trailers typically have a lifespan of folks that that are in trailers because they're doing a lot of contests or vending? Do they keep them for 5, 6, 7 years and then turn them out, or is it really just depending on what kind of an individual you are and how you're putting it through its paces?
I think, it probably depends on the wear and tear. I would say if you got 10 years out of one, you did great. That's kind of where we are with ours. And at that point, it starts wear and tear gets on it. And I've had to replace axles and, some of the plywood gets water damaged in my old trailer, and it's got some more work that needs to be done on it. I would say 5 to 10 years is doing good. A lot of guys trade them more often than that just because your needs change. And, hopefully, I plan to keep this one 10 years. I don't plan on getting rid of it anytime soon.
So you're going to have a CTO on the back. Is that kind of permanent living on the back of that cooker at this point?
Yeah, I had it mounted to it, so it can't move. It's I could unmount it, of course, take it off if I want, but I'll probably put a gateway back there, gateway drum, and I'll roll my generator up, and then the back will be ready to go. So everything else is pretty much self-service. Just have to restock every contest to the supplies I need.
From a contest standpoint, just to touch on it briefly, since you said you had one in a couple weeks, have you been doing any practicing or leading up competition-style cooking? Because typically what you're doing on videos or backyard cooking is necessarily related to competition cooking.
I have not. I'm probably going to get my butt kicked, Greg. I'm going about it this year as just having fun and getting back out there. I didn't get to do a lot last year, so I'm going to, I'm not going to be too. I'm not saying I'm not going to be serious because I'll go to do my best and hopefully win, but I'm going to go more to have fun and talk to people and get to hang out with my buds.
Malcolm, one of the things that everybody seems to love about you is visiting the website, the YouTube channel, and seeing what you're cooking and learning how to cook better in the backyard. And the most recent recipe was the Mississippi po' boy. And, one of the, I guess so the question that I have is, here in Cleveland, there is a sandwich called the Polish boy. Are we talking about the same sandwich here and we're just knocking off the lish part, or are they two completely different sandwiches?
Well, this is more of the New Orleans style po' boy that I'm talking about. I guess it's kind of that's where I get my reference from getting a po' boy. Usually when I think of a po' boy, I think of a fried shrimp or crawfish or combo or something like that with lettuce, tomatoes. But they also do one that's called a dairy po' boy, and it's like a beef roast that they cook down. Usually, I imagine it's like a sirloin or some top round roast or something. They cook it down to where it's just falling apart, and all the debris is in the pot, what cooks down, and that gets like ladled back over the sandwich to make it really juicy. And that's a pretty standard po' boy if you're from Louisiana. And I just kind of did my spin on it, being from Mississippi, and this Mississippi pot roast that I know everybody's seen. It's been around the internet for years. That's done in like a slow cooker crock pot type thing. I just did it on the smoker, got some color and smoke on it, and cooked it till it was fork tender, falling apart, and man, it was awesome.
So I heard you go over the details in the most recent How to Barbecue Right podcast, and maybe it comes as no surprise to my listeners because my culinary depth of field is, let's say, limited a little bit. So I had never heard of people doing this kind of a pot roast. To me, you get a chuck roast, 4 pounds or so, put it in the slow cooker, and then I do potatoes, corn, carrots, onions, maybe some celery if I can sneak it in and nobody else sees me do it in the family because everybody else hates it. But that's like pot roast to me. I'd never heard of putting ranch packets in this kind of a dish before. So, but you said it was very popular and everybody was doing it.
Well, that's my mom's style is what you were talking about. That's how I grew up eating pot roast. I don't know where the origins of this Mississippi pot roast came from, but, it's a stick of butter, a packet of ranch, a packet of au jus, and some pepperoncinis. How can that be bad?
I don't know. I mean, you had me at stick of butter, I think. I'm not a huge ranch fan. I think in places it's fine. Like if you have a nice pumpernickel bread and you make a nice ranch dip, okay, I can get down with that. But my oldest daughter used to date a kid who would dip his pizza in ranch sauce.
How dare you?
I can't even believe it. I'm like, are we talking like 7-year-olds like dip everything in ranch because they're 7-year-olds? But where does the palate expand as I continue to contradict myself, saying I really didn't have a lot of breadth of palate? But nevertheless, I think ranch in places is fine, but I'd never heard of this before. So I guess is there a ratio of butter and ranch in meat so one isn't overpowering the other?
Well, I would say that you're right in the 3 to 4 pound roast range is perfect for the whole packet of each. Now, I have made one that's a little smaller, and it'll get a little salty or a little over flavored from the 2 packets, which, we're just getting packets from the supermarket. So I'm sure there's no telling what's in there. But if you use, it's kind of, you need a good size roast. If you use a 2 pound roast, cut the packet back a little bit if you're worried about it being a little salty. Just use half. But I think you do need the stick of butter because you're not adding any extra liquid. A lot of times when you make a pot roast, you would put some beef broth with some water or something in there with it. We're just letting the fat in the roast render out. The butter's melting and giving it some more richness, some more liquid. And then it mixes with those two, the ranch dressing pack mix and the au jus pack mix to kind of make this gravy. And the pepperoncinis cooked down. They have some juice in them too, but it doesn't make a ton of liquid. What's there is really concentrated, really flavorful, but it's, you don't get, and it's not a real heavy ranch flavor either. All that cooks away. I think you pick up more of the dill, more of that flavor in that ranch than you do anything on the roast. and it's really good.
When you're serving it, is it a slice serve or a pull serve, and then onto, I guess, a bun that would be able, or a roll that would be able to stand up to not only the meat and then the liquid that accompanies it?
Sure. What I'd like to shred it. That's what I did. And typically when we roast, we cook them to where they're fork shreddable tender. It's really soft, really rendered down. It almost has like a beef cheek texture to it, or short rib. That's what it's like. I served it on you need a bread. A real po' boy bread. They make them in these bakeries down in New Orleans, and they're, fantastic, real light but crusty on the outside. Now, the Mississippi version is just whatever 12-inch hoagie or po' boy roll you can find at Kroger. That's the Mississippi version. We're not real picky on breads, but I put cheese down, and I just went with like an American deli white cheese. Just standard stuff from the deli to keep the meat from soaking through. That kind of held it. It melted the cheese a little bit, but it still creates that barrier, so you're not picking it up. Your hands you don't have a soggy mess, pretty much.
Do you ever think about doing maybe like a light toast on the bread to add an additional barrier?
I've served it with Texas toast before, and it's really good. For a smaller version, a po' boy is typically not toasted, but you could. Man, this is, these recipes that I do, I love people's interpretations on them. So if you try it, Greg, and you toast the bread, let me know how it turns out.
All right, no doubt about it. We love toasting bread in all forms and fashions here in this house for some reason, so I'll let you know how it works out. From a upcoming recipe standpoint, what are you working on right now?
Well, I've got one coming up for St. Patrick's Day where I'm using a Guinness beer to make a marinade and a glaze that I'm kind of doing, or kind of a salt, it's like a mushroom Guinness reduction sauce glaze for steak. I'm going to do a steak and potatoes for St. Patrick's Day. I've also, I just recently, me and Rochelle took a little vacation down to Montego Bay, Jamaica, and I come back with a little more jerk on my mind. So I did a little jerk pork belly action too that I'm going to release this week, hopefully, if I can get back in time. I've got to get back and write all the recipe and description out for Rochelle. She's editing it now.
Will you do, or did you use your jerk seasoning for that?
I did, but I made more of a traditional jerk marinade with it, using really fresh ingredients. I kind of food processed some onions, some habanero peppers, some green onions, some garlic, some pimento with some of the jerk seasoning and some lime juice to make this. It's like a wet marinade, kind of chunky, kind of thick. If you think of a puree, kind of, it's more like an authentic jerk. And then I call them jerk pork belly bites, or the burn in. You can ask Ray about if we should call them pork burn ins here.
Yeah, I think we had this discussion last year at some point, and it didn't go too well.
But we're doing jerk belly bites.
All right, sounds great. So we'll be on the lookout for that. Malcom Reed is chasing the new trailer, which he's going to get his hands on and his truck on tomorrow, and then latch up at some point and head back to the house. And you can find Malcom Reed on the first Tuesday of the month right here on this show. In the meantime, howtobbqright.com and killerhogs.com are the websites, and How to BBQ Right on all the social media channels. Malcom, always appreciate the time and continued safety on your journey. Can't wait to see that thing on video.
Thank you, Greg. It's always a pleasure, man. I'll see you next month.
You got it. There he is, Malcom Reed, and he is on his way to Norcross, Georgia to pick up that trailer that he found. Great. HowToBBQRight.com, his website. Are you subscribed? Of course. Most people are subscribed in live fire to Malcolm's channel. Ray Lampe coming up out of the break. I'll talk to you quickly about Southside Market and Barbecue, established in 1882. Southside Market, the oldest barbecue joint in Texas, owned and operated by the same family for 3 generations. Offering premium Central Texas barbecue products, slow smoked over real wood, shipping, distributing, manufacturing sausages for companies across the U.S., from food trucks to multi-chain restaurants. Southside Sausage can be on your menu, too. All meats are processed in the on-site USDA-inspected facility, a trusted partner with a focus on quality and authenticity. Wholesale options are available. Shipping nationwide via FedEx, or you can get it through food service distribution channels like Sysco, U.S. Foods, and Martin Foods. Co-packaging capable. That's right, from research and development to package completion, they can follow your recipe or help you develop something brand spanking new. They also have private label opportunities if you're interested. Visit SouthsideMarket.com for more information, or you can purchase everything they have for sale right there on that website. As you're doing that, use the coupon code 10% off for your entire online order the first time, the 10th time, every time. BBQ Central, one word and lowercase, BBQ Central. 10% off when you use BBQ Central at SouthsideMarket.com. The beef sausage, if you haven't tried it, gotta try it. Ray Lampe coming up. Yes, he is still around, and we will talk to him next. We'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, this portion of the show is being brought to you by CookinPellets.com. Your number one source for quality wood pellets for all your pellet-driven cookers. Visit CookinPellets.com for more information or to purchase. You can also visit Amazon.com if you would like to purchase cooking pellets from there. Either way, doesn't matter. CookinPellets.com is the place to go. Plenty of different flavors. Chris Becker also has a new podcast out that he's toying around with. So if you're interested in Cooking Pellets podcast, check it out. It's all one word, though. A little difficult to search sometimes. All right, my next guest hardly needs introduction. Does Barbecue Hall of Famer do it for you? It does for me. It's Dr. Barbecue Ray Lampe. Hey, Ray.
Hi, Greg. How are you?
I am absolutely fabulous, and we welcome Ray back to the show. It's been a number of months here and plenty of stuff to get caught up on. Ray, let me ask you this. I do a read for Cooking Pellets as we're coming in. Is 2020, and as I preface this by all of us that are within the industry and have known about them forever and ever, and you're an owner of at least one, or were an owner of at least one, pellet cookers, is 2020, in your estimation, the year that pellet cookers make the jump into a mainstream vernacular of folks in the backyard, or are we not there just yet?
Well, it might have been 2019 because they're certainly everywhere. But, man, when Weber jumps on board, you got to think that it's time, yeah. I'm not too involved in it. I'm not hearing things about the Weber issue, but just the fact that they have gone through all the trouble to create a pellet cooker. And, of course, they'll fix it. You know, I mean, whatever the issues are, I know it's Weber. They're going to straighten it out. So, and obviously the growth of Traeger and everybody, all the actually, Fast Eddie told me this morning there's 22 pellet grill companies on the market right now. And I believe him. That's a lot.
Well,
so, yes.
I mean, I think when we were doing the very first brisket roundtable ever back in 2006 or whenever it was with such luminaries as yourself and Fast Eddie, Jim Minion, Lee Ann Whippen, that, it was like Traeger and then that Fast Eddie cooker. And that was pretty much it back then.
Yeah, that's right. I think there was a couple others out there on the market, but you didn't see them. You didn't even know where they were. Yeah, absolutely. So it's come a long way. But, I mean, and pellets. I mean, I was at Publix this morning, and there's pellets on the shelf. So that's, just the availability shows you how many pellet cookers are out there.
No doubt. Ray Lampe joining us here on the show, drbbq.com, his website, if you want to check it out. So, Ray, the latest news after a 17-year relationship or partnership or whatever you want to call it, you and Big Green Egg have decided that we're going to part company. So I don't know whatever you're allowed to say or legally or if there's NDAs and all this stuff. But, I mean, it certainly, from one aspect, 17-year run is longer than most marriages these days. So to have that kind of a business relationship, especially in our kind of business, is probably one that we might not ever see again. That's a very long time. But then on the other side, why do we break up? What's going on with that?
Well, first of all, there is no NDA. I could say whatever I want. I'm going to tell you the truth. Yeah, another thing I said to Eddie this morning, Eddie's my old buddy, you know that, and we were talking. I said, I invented the job. Right. Nobody from the barbecue world from the competition world for sure, had ever worked for a grill company when I got Big Green Egg to hire me. And 17 years later, I'm done now, finally. Well, everybody else that got a job in between there has on a shorter tenure than me. So I got no problem with it at all. The other thing I'll tell you, in 17 years, I've worked for a lot of other products too. You know, I mean, the pork board, the Cabo, Jack Daniels, Creekstone, go on down the list. I could name 50 things that I've worked for that all ended well on a much shorter version than 17 years. So it's a kick-ass run. I got no problem with it at all. You know, I was thinking about this for what I would say about it. You often hear me say about my trucking business situation that it ran its course and it was time to do something different. I feel the exact same way about this. It was a great run. Look what we did. Someone told me you might want to position it as mission accomplished. You know, Big Green Egg wasn't what they are when I started. I mean, obviously, I don't get all the credit, but I get some of it, and it was a great run.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you think of Big Green Egg, at least over the last 17 years, it was almost synonymous. You see a Big Green Egg, and you think of Dr. Barbecue, especially if you're in the subculture as we are. If you see Ray Lampe, you automatically think of Big Green Egg, and you were always very complimentary, always very supportive of the relationship and talking about it in a great way, but, you know, never over the top or anything like that. But there seemed to be quite a real affinity for the cooker itself.
Oh, no question. Yeah. I mean, that's, you know, makes it hard if I don't know what the future holds, but it'll be tricky because, yeah, I do love cooking on the thing, and I think it is as good as it gets. So, yeah, there's no doubt about that. But, you know, again, it goes forward. You always got to be looking forward. I have my role has diminished over the last few years with them, and things changed. The company went from being this company that really needed a guy like me in the beginning. I was out there competing and beating the streets doing that. I was stopping at dealers. I was traveling the country in my trailer. And it's evolved so much over the years, what I did for them. And so it just continues to evolve.
Is that a segment of the market that has topped out at this point, do you think?
Well, we certainly were the mother of all growth for about the last 10 years. So, you know, I mean, think about that. 17 years ago, I'm going to a Hearth and Patio show next week. And 17 years ago, they didn't know what to do with Big Green Egg. It didn't really fit in anywhere. It was a charcoal cooker, but no one else had just charcoal cookers. It was a weird thing. Now it's a dominating category there. And, you know, that basically Big Green Egg is completely responsible for that. Now, have we kind of flattened out? You got to figure. I mean, you can only have that growth for so long.
One of the new things that you're into is, I believe the title is Spokes Chef for the National Turkey Federation. So as you said, you've been through, you know, 50 other products and relationships and stuff over the last 17 years too, as you were running with Big Green Egg. So talk to me about the new deal with the National Turkey Federation.
Yeah, the Spoke Chef, that's actually what we always used for Big Green Egg. I think we made that one up too. We broke a lot of ground.
No doubt.
And so when we were talking about with the turkey folks, I threw it out there. I said, that's what we always use, and they liked it, so that's what we're going to use. Yeah, the National Turkey Federation, not the wild turkey people. It's actually, there's two similar organizations. This is the one for domestic turkey. They're in D.C. They're kind of do some lobbying and that sort of thing, and they've never really done this sort of thing, have a chef on board. And I met them. They've been around at a lot of barbecue cook-offs, Leslie and Beth. Everybody's met them. And I started talking to them, and I told them what I could do, and so I think they have plans for me. I've already spoke at their conference, their annual conference. So I think they probably have plans for me that I'm not necessarily out at all the cook-offs, but really nice folks. I really like them. And I'm a huge fan of turkey. This is no BS at all, man. I mean, when I got my first trophy I ever won in a KCBS contest in 1991, is in my office right over there, and it was for a turkey I cooked.
Oh.
You know, I was on Best Thing I Ever Ate eating a turkey at Big Bob Gibson's and on and on and on. I mean, I really do like turkey, so this is exciting to me.
Is it one of the most underappreciated proteins? I know everybody makes a big deal about it at Thanksgiving, obviously. You might double up on it for Christmas, but then if you're not going to a barbecue restaurant that has it on the menu, it's almost like out of sight, out of mind for the other 11 months out of the year almost.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And that, to me, I see that as this great opportunity.
Sure.
They dominate in lunch meat. They dominate in, of course, Thanksgiving.
Yep.
And what was the other one? There's another one that they own. But then, day to day, it's amazing. First thing I did was go to the store and look, and there's like a 18-inch wide section, and there's like 100 feet of chicken at the store. I'm like, how can that be? So yeah, I mean, to me, it's just sort of been underloved. And who doesn't like turkey? If we cook it right, I think the potential is huge, and that's the excitement for me.
So people just need to follow you on social media and stuff, keep up with all the turkey happenings with you, then?
I suspect you'll see plenty of it out there, yes.
All right.
I'm not hard to find.
No, fair enough. drbbq.com, Ray's website, which also has links over to social media as well. So let's talk about the other thing that's been going on here over the last couple of years, which is Dr. Barbecue's restaurant. We are now well steeped into it. This isn't a couple weeks or a quarter or 6 months in. I mean, we're now years into it. What do we love about the restaurant?
The food. I was just there. The food stays good, man. We're doing a great job with the food.
Are you surprised? Are you surprised at consistency, or is that what separates a barbecue restaurant that has staying power?
I'm considering the turnover we have with staff. I am surprised at the consistency, because turnover is just an endless battle. So there's different people with their hands on it on a regular basis. But I part of the credit is, I mean, we buy good quality meat, but we also, that oiler, man, we got a big J&R oiler, and I'll tell you, that thing is like magic. It's a great cooker. As long as we still got to, we got to take the meat off at the right time and handle it right after that. But you start out with a really good opportunity with that oiler. I'm amazed at it.
And the pitmaster is still there? Is it Lee?
No, he's long gone.
Long gone?
He's probably,
oh, no. What happened?
Yeah. I don't know. I like Lee a lot, and I was really disappointed. Yeah, he had some personal problems, family problems he was dealing with right at the same time, and it's a miserable business, man. It's so stressful for these people that are there every day. That and Lee was not afraid to work. It's just. Oh God, I don't want to get specific.
So
but
there was obviously things going on, is what we're saying.
Yeah, no, I don't necessarily blame him. It's just a tough road to hoe. I mean, it's a burnout factor. I don't know that he was burned out, but he was headed there.
So are you through like a number of pitmasters now, or do you not even bother trying to fill a pitmaster's role? You're just training people to do these meats. Oh, Dr. Barbecue's the pitmaster now? Oh, no.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of work then all of a sudden.
Every day. All of my assistant pitmasters are there cooking the barbecue every day.
Right.
Yeah, we don't want to get into that again. That kind of was not a good solution to the problem. So yeah, I oversee it, and there's a whole bunch of people involved. But they're good. I mean, they do a great job. It's not that they don't. I really liked having Lee, and Lee's he's a really good barbecue cook. There's no doubt about it. But the show must go on, and that's what I've learned. And the part about the restaurant business that I always thought I would not want to be involved was because of dealing with the employees, and that's absolutely the suckiest part of it. A lot of good ones, but they just don't care like you do.
Well, I was just going to say, is it a point of you have a deeper buy-in, you have more skin in the game, especially you, because you have a huge picture of yourself out there on the side of the restaurant, your name is on it. I'm sure you're probably financially vested to some degree. So, I mean, you have a bigger stake than somebody going in and making an hourly wage. I'm sure it's competitive. But if something goes wrong, then they just don't show up on a Tuesday, and maybe they don't show up on a Wednesday, and fuck it, I'm fired, and I'll go get another job somewhere else. That has to be hugely frustrating.
Yeah, it is. You're exactly right. And it's also the nature of the industry is you could literally walk across the street and get hired. We have people working for us that used to work at the restaurant across the street, and they got people to work for us. I mean, the nature of it is I don't know. I'm not going to say they know that. I think they all come in with good intentions, but yeah, they're not invested. it's funny. I call them. I say they're like strippers because they're there to work the hard. They'll do a good day's work and they make some good money, and that's what they're there for. But they're not. They don't care about it like I do. That's for sure. Although I shouldn't say all. There's some really good ones. It's amazing the efforts. They all work really hard, and some of them are really sharp. But across the board, some of them will really let you down.
So let me ask a question here. I have no idea what I'm talking about, but I'm just wondering because I spent a lot of time in food service being a waiter and working in kitchens, washing dishes, all that stuff as I was, coming up before I started to make the millions selling trucks and doing the show.
Yeah.
If you paid a server $25 an hour and you had a group that bought in, they're making a decent wage. I don't know how the tip outs would work at $25 an hour. Maybe you don't get tipped out at that point. But you pay $25 an hour. Do you think you have a better shot at getting more buy-in from the employee, and that they feel like now they have a different level of being a team member, and the whole restaurant raises up together because of that?
Well, I mean, I think most of those people end up being managers. So yes, at that point they do make that kind of money. I don't know, and luckily I have good partners that are very much more take care of that end of the business.
Sure.
But in my personal thought is $2 an hour more wouldn't get you anything except them saying, "See, you should have paid us that before." If you paid $10 an hour more, yeah, I think you would get that kind of reaction, but obviously you can't do that. You can only, the margin. That's one of the other things I've learned. The margin in a profitable restaurant is thin, man. If everything's going just right, they can make some money, but it's really thin for the investment. So I'm not sure that you can't, you just flat can't do it. And as far as the tipping out, Danny Meyer, they tried to do that in New York, where they would just charge a little bit more for the food, give everybody a fair wage, and that would be the deal, and nobody liked it. In England, they have a thing they have a minimum wage, and then they identify a living wage, so that you could advertise that we pay our people a living wage. Because think about it, what's minimum wage? I don't even know what it is, $10 an hour or something like that. And how are you going to live on that? It'd be harder to live on that. So they identify it as a living wage. That's a pretty cool idea.
Ray, on a scale of 1 to 10, at this stage of the restaurant career, how happy are we with the restaurant? Are you still in it to win it, or are you starting to get a little sour on it? What's the deal?
Yeah, I would say I'm a 10. There's
10?
no doubt.
Wow.
I enjoy it.
Great.
I mean, I've learned a lot. There's, the frustration level is the part of what goes with it, but that doesn't mean I don't think it's cool. It's a lot of fun every day. I go in there, I just was there. An old friend stopped in, was coming in for dinner, and so I went up and said hi, and I walked through the restaurant, and there's a go-kart race across the street this weekend, and I see some of the guys from the pits, and I stop and talk to them, and I stop and talk to a lady that's got a little doggy outside, and they're all happy. Their brisket's so good, they love me, and this, you walk through the restaurant, and man, it's pretty fun for me. I enjoy that a lot. And then, as much as I complain about these employees, I'm by far the oldest guy in the place. And it's fun to work with all them young kids. Even when they piss you off, they all work really hard, and it's good for me to hang out with all these young people.
All right, so make sure that if you're in the area, stop by Dr. Barbecues and grab some great regular barbecue stuff, but some outside the box stuff as well. And keep up with Ray on his website, drbbq.com, and through the social media channels. Ray, always appreciate the time. Great catching up with you, and let's do it again sooner than later.
Thanks, Greg. Talk to you soon.
You got it. There he is, Ray Lampe, Dr. Barbecue, talking about a myriad of topics. I thought for a second he was souring on the restaurant, and then he hit me with a 10. It's a 10. Wow. I thought he was going to be coming with a solid 5. Employees can kill your mood quick. It's truth. A 10. All right, we are quickly hitting the top of the second hour, closing the first hour. Ray's website, one more time, is drbbq.com. drbbq on Instagram and Twitter, I believe. At least Twitter. I don't know how active Ray is on Instagram. But hit the website, and that'll tell you exactly where to find him, especially if you want some more turkey info. A lot more of that stuff is going to be coming out. When we come back, we'll wrap the first hour, and we will look to the second hour. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Hang on.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the Barbecue Central Show.
All right, thanks again to Ray Lampe for joining me last segment. This portion of the show being brought to you by Fireboard. Monitor up to 6 different temperatures simultaneously. Connect to Wi-Fi for cloud-based monitoring, or connect via Bluetooth. If you have Alexa or the Google Assistant in your home, you're in luck because Fireboard is fully integrated with both. Find out more by visiting fireboard.com or call 816-945-2232. In fact, I made 2 smaller meat loaves. I didn't make the traditional 2-pound meat loaf that I usually make in hopes of having the meat get done quicker. So I made 2 1-pound loaves. And because my Fireboard has 2 internal meat probes, I stuck them right in each loaf. Then I could monitor each independently. It was great. You can use the Fireboard inside and outside. I used the Fireboard outside 2 days ago when I finished the last 85-day dry-aged ribeye, courtesy of the Butcher Shop. They're in Pensacola, Florida, by the way. They sponsor the best moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or less. So if you find them on Facebook / The Butcher Shop, and that's SHOPPE, you call in. They don't have like a website, but if you call in and order anything, just drop the name of the show, the Barbecue Central Show. You get 10% off your order. Quick plug for The Butcher Shop. But I had 85-day dry-aged steak from there. And I have to tell you, somebody who has had 60-day dry-aged, 85 wasn't that much more funky. Some funk, some additional funk, but not too funky. So I want to check out 100 days, see if that is the edge of funkitude. I'm just trying to figure out different ways to say funk. 60 is funkalicious. 85-day funkified. 100-day could be too funky for this guy. We'll have to see. Got to get my hands on 100. I think Butcher Shop can help me out with that. Steve Ray was saying that Ray Lampe will be picked up next month by a major player in the pellet grill industry. We'll see about that, Steve. Everybody loving the Doug Scheiding Wiener graphic, sponsored by No Names Please.
How dare you!
It's funny. You'll see it in between the first and second hour if you missed it as we were transitioning here into this segment. Also, thanks to Malcom Reed as he is making his way out to Norcross, Georgia to pick up his competition trailer. Sleeping 4 comfortably, 6 uncomfortably if you had to. He's got a Old Hickory CTO mounted on the back. And it sounded like he was going to put a Gateway, maybe some other cooker on there as well, but that sounds like it would be able to take off. All right, we are pointing to the second hour. Everybody go refresh libations. We have a huge second hour coming back, so tell all of your friends and neighbors that they need to be tuning in right now so they can be ready to catch the show live as it is meant to be. The BBQCentralShow.com is the place to go for all viewing and listening options. I'll be back right after this. Stick around.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
Boing.
We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me.
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle. Charbono! It's all about the Charbono, dude!
Succulent fish. What?
He ate sushi or wiener.
Oh, listen, Liberty, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shits peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
All right, just like that, we are into the second hour. And you have found the Barbecue Central show. If you missed the first hour, no problem. We're recording live, and you will get the first hour tomorrow. You'll get the second hour on Thursday. I'll talk to you about the best of here in a second. But if you're just tuning in, no problem. You missed Ray Lampe just a segment ago, and before him, Malcom Reed from How to Barbecue Right. Still to come on this show this hour, Sam the Cooking Guy makes his triumphant return to the show. And we will close out with Weber's Grill Master Kevin Coleman. A lot of SmokeFire will be talked about there, so feel free to tune in if you have folks and friends and neighbors that have SmokeFire and they have questions or they're trolling around on those Facebook forums and groups. Make sure everybody's tuning in so they can hear right from Weber's mouth what's going on, and we'll be talking with them. That's 10:35 Eastern time for Kevin, and about 12 minutes from now for Sam the Cooking Guy. Don't forget, you can follow me socially at BBQ Central Show on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, /BBQ Central Show on Facebook, which is where you will also find a live video feed. So if you're watching me over on Facebook, hey, thanks for coming in. If you want to take part in the chat over on YouTube, hit me up there. I kind of monitor that, not all the time, but I have a tendency to look at it here and again, just in case something great pops up there. I'll mix it into the show. Coming up this Friday on the best moments of the Barbecue Central show in 10 minutes or less, episode 114, taking you back to March 6, 2012. Now, maybe you've asked yourself, what did Daniel Vaughn do before he got the gig as the first barbecue editor ever in the country, and that being with Texas Monthly? Well, he moved to Texas, and he was keeping a blog, if you can believe it. It was called Full Custom Gospel Barbecue, and the website was horrible. And you hear it like 4 different times during this segment that John put together. But it was like fcg-barbecue.blogspot.com. It was like a free one. He didn't even have a custom URL at that point. You could get the free version as long as it had Blogspot in the middle of it, making it look like a train wreck. And that's what it was. But that's what he was doing. He was keeping track of all of the Texas barbecue restaurants through that website. And then through meeting Anthony Bourdain, the book deal, and Texas Monthly then approached. Now he's the very first full-time barbecue editor in the country, and Texas Monthly made him that position. So, long way to go to get here to tell you that this was the first conversation I had with Daniel on this very show And you can easily see why he ended up landing the job with Texas Monthly as we cruise through that interview. And it's always fun to see where the genesis of a guest comes from. And here is exactly where it happened on this show with one Daniel Vaughn. We have had many visits over the past 8 years, and they have always been fun. They've always been informative. Sometimes they've been contentious, but not too much. Certainly this one is no different. And it's fun to hear how he gets going. And remember, Daniel Vaughn is a fellow Buckeye, not originally from Texas, wasn't born in Austin or Houston or San Antonio or anything. I think, originally he's from around the Wooster, Ohio area, which is south and a little bit east of where I am here in Cleveland. So he's no original born Texan, but I think it's safe to say at this point that most Texans would accept Daniel as a true Texan at this point. Time in, the study, all that stuff. It's fun. It's exciting. So if you've always wanted to hear the first time that Daniel Vaughn was on the show, then make sure you're subscribed to the podcast, because that's the only way you can get the best of course, is through the podcast. Now, and then there's this. Gang, we're our own worst enemy. The list of reasons why other countries hate us is too long and, quite frankly, never-ending. And this is probably nearing the top of the list at the moment. Anyone familiar with something called the coronavirus?
How dare you?
It's a thing. You know what else is a thing? Americans being stupid about things called the coronavirus. Why do I say that? Because according to WSOCTV.com, Channel 9, Corona beer is taking a hit because of the coronavirus pandemic. That's right. As the fears of coronavirus continue to spread, a beer with a now unfortunate name, Feelings of the Outbreak Corona, is taking a public relations hit because of fears over the name's similarity to the deadly virus. A recent survey of American beer drinkers found that 38% of those asked will not buy Corona beer, and 16% are confused if Corona beer is somehow related to the coronavirus.
How dare you?
5WPR, the company that conducted the survey and released the results earlier this week, also found that 14% of those who would normally buy Corona now won't do it in public. Won't do it in public? I think the only place you can buy beer nowadays is in public, at a store that has the license to sell the liquor or beer to you. In Ohio, you can go to a gas station, you can go to the grocery store, you can go to local 5 and dime. Can't get liquor in those places, like hard liquor. You have to go to the state store for that. That's a special place. State stores typically do sell beer, but it's mostly liquor. But 14% of those people are somehow obtaining Corona non-publicly, privately. Hey, Timmy, go to the store and buy old granddad a case of Corona. I don't want to be seen doing that. Really? You're not buying Corona beer in public? A second survey conducted said that the buzz score for Corona beer has fallen from a high of 75 at the beginning of January to 51 at the end of February. The intent to buy the brand is also at the lowest it has ever been in the last 2 years. Sprout Social, a social media management company, said the connecting beer, Corona, and virus searches went up recently. Constellation Brands, which owns Corona Extra in the U.S., among other brands, took a 6% hit last Thursday in the stock market as the entire financial system falls because of the coronavirus fears. Overall, the company's stock was down about 18%, but the company's spokeswoman, Maggie Bowman, said the survey is misinformation or fake news and that sales are still strong. In the 4 weeks that ended February 16th, sales grew 5%, The company said that its customers understand there is no link between the virus and their business. You know what I think about that? Bullshit. If 14% of your consumers are not buying your beer in public, they think there's a connection. And 38% are confused. I'm sorry, 16% of 38% who will not buy Corona don't really know if the Corona beer is somehow related to the coronavirus. I don't even know how you can put that together. I don't even know where my worry level is on the coronavirus. I watched a video yesterday that said if you are a healthy human, if you're not an infant, and you don't have a well-defined or well-refined immune system, which, infants don't. They just haven't been through it yet. Likewise, on the other scale, elderly, immune systems compromised. They are at most at risk along with the young ones. But if you're in the middle like me, if you're relatively healthy, from everything that I've read, that isn't on one side or the other, it's just medical news. Your body, if your immune system is healthy, should be able to fend it off like the flu or any other virus that's like the flu. And by the way, coronavirus is not new. Remember the bird flu? That was coronavirus. Remember SARS? Is that also the bird flu? That was coronavirus. This is just a different strain of coronavirus, the umbrella of sick coronavirus. My goodness. 16% of you Corona drinkers are currently unsure if Corona beer is related to the coronavirus. 16% of the 100% of 30. Crazy town. Just another reason why people hate us, right here. Sam the Cooking Guy coming up out of the break. And we talk to you this time about Big Papa Smokers. By the way, Sterling Ball knocking down another grand championship this past weekend. That is 3 in 4 tries. Good job, Sterling. A Sterling competition, of course. Pun intended. Now, you know he's got these great rubs that are helping him win each and every contest that he's winning. Sweet Money, Cattle Prod, Cash Cow, all those. 13 to be exact. Perfectly balanced. Giving your friends and neighbors the taste that they're looking for. Obviously, the judges as well. If you're looking for a little bit of change up on that or something to add to the Big Papa Smokers, you got to look at the West Coast offense, which involves adding a little Simply Marvelous barbecue. Now, they also own Granny's barbecue sauce, so if you're into sauces or you want to try something new, or you just want to go off the reservation and go sight unseen, trust me, this is something that you're going to want to check out. Granny's barbecue sauce, good all on its own, good for base sauce. You can tweak from there. They're also selling grills and smokers. That's right. We're going to be talking about pellet cookers a little bit later in the hour. However, if you want a versatile smoker that's easy to use, you can check out the Mac 2-Star General Pellet Grill. Big Papa is the exclusive Mac dealer online, even offers special packages. Nobody else doing that. They also offer Old Hickory Ace BP, which is the only charcoal cooker that Big Papa trusts on his competition trailer. If you have any questions about what you should be ordering, 877-828-0727. That's 877-828-0727. Ask all your questions there. BigPopSmokers.com to shop. Otherwise, that's BIGPOPPA Smokers.com. All right, we're back with Sam the Cooking Guy. Stick around. We'll be right back.
The only show giving you a monthly visit from a doctor of barbecue, a man actually named Meathead, the author of a barbecue Bible, bloggers, reviewers, competitors, and manufacturers by the dozens. It's the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
And this segment brought to you by Smithfield. Head over to smithfield.com through the grilling season as recipes are trickled in from such world champion pitmasters like Chris Lilly, Darren Worth, Ernest Cervantes, and Childs Cridlin. With mouth-watering flavor and no artificial ingredients, Smithfield Fresh Pork, quite simply, some of the finest pork out there that money can buy, and is the trusted choice of world champion pitmasters for use in competitions and in their backyard as well. And that website, once again, is smithfield.com. All right, it is the first Tuesday of the month, and he is back and ready to rock. Sam, the cooking guy, joins me. Hey, Sam.
Greg, you good?
I'm fine. How are you?
How's the noise level?
It's probably going to be intolerable.
Seriously?
Yes.
Okay, well, we had this conversation. I will now go outside. Sorry. You know, I said I was going to try and do it from my restaurant, Gray's. You know, here's a look this way.
Wow, look at that. It is both nice but intimate.
There you go.
Yeah.
And so, what did you say? Oh, as long as you've got those the headphone things, you're going to be fine. And then, no, I got like just complete shit just now from you. So I'm going to go outside.
Right.
Hold on. I'm walking out of the restaurant.
Is it good enough weather for you to go outside? Like, if you told me to go outside right now, I would be freezing.
It's San Diego. I'll let you do that math on that.
How dare you?
Man, oh man, look at you.
So here, you can have, this is your view behind me.
I like it. That now.
How's the sound out here?
Well, this is much more tolerable.
Okay, or this way towards the fountain.
Wow. Yeah, both. Look at that guy videotaping behind you to your right. See that guy?
I got him right here. Hold on.
Look at him. He's like, look at me. I'm in front of the fountain. I love me. I love me. Let's make fun of him.
You just did.
Yeah, I did. Wow,
Okay, here, let's try this. I mean, look, I can go to, do you want me to go to a very quiet spot? You're the one that said that this was going to be okay.
Well,
I see you don't like this.
All right. Do you want to just call me on the phone?
No. Shit. All right, I'm going to try something right now.
You can just call me on the phone. It's fine. No big deal.
I got to go inside then. No, I can do this.
Oh,
hold on. Shit.
Just stand up and tell everybody to shut up. Won't they listen?
I have to down a drink. Hold on. I can't take this drink where I'm going to go. Hold on.
Where are you going to go? You can't take a drink. Oh, my God. Look at this guy. What are you, 20 years old?
I feel like it. Okay.
No doubt.
So here's the deal.
Yep.
Where I just came out of, this restaurant, Gray's.
Yeah.
Sign is up there. You can't see it. And the Little Italy food hall behind me here, where Not Tacos is.
Yep.
Have a alcohol license.
We love your restaurant.
Shut up, lady. Beat it.
Thank you.
Get out of here. He's on the radio. Get out of here, lady. Come on.
Thank you.
God.
How do you say out of that?
Man, celebrity. Look at you. Big shot.
So this whole piazza behind me, where all these people are, this is licensed that you can have alcohol out here. It's the only place in San Diego that allows for, drinking out in public in this area.
So you don't get arrested for like open container or something like this. Oh no. Oh no. It's gone. It's gone. I knew it. Damn it. He's probably right in that weird Wi-Fi connection area where he's changing over, but, it's not there. In my defense, I did say use the phone. Oh. Totally lost now. All right. He'll be coming back. I did say use the phone because, it's my show and I know what can work. My mind only works in worst case scenarios, not medium case scenarios, not best case scenarios. So when we connect, and I hate that. All right, we're back on board. Wow, look at where are you at now? That's even sexier than the last place. Wow,
I'm in the lobby of my building.
Oh, okay. Wow. Super nice.
So So Not Tacos and Gray's are on either side of that piazza. The whole piazza is licensed for alcohol, but I literally could not walk into this building with a drink in my hand, or I could subject our license to forfeiture, and I don't want to do that.
Really? So you can drink outside, but you can't bring the drink inside. That seems completely counterintuitive.
No, here's the deal. No, it isn't. It makes sense. I'm not going to go into it.
All right.
Just be comfortable with it.
I'm fine. I appreciate you putting in the legwork here to get somewhere quiet after I told you it would be fine, and it wasn't fine.
It told me it would be fine.
Yes. What do I know?
Now, apparently nothing.
Apparently. Now,
how are you?
Great. Let me ask you this question before we get into the Gray's talk, and then, of course, this completely new restaurant that I found out about like a month and a half ago that after you were on, like 2 days later, you were into like this third restaurant. We'll get on here in a second. Do you have any Wuhan bat recipes that you're working on at this point?
In fact, there's a stew that I've been working my way through slowly.
Yes.
But as you can imagine, it's very difficult to get bats out of Wuhan right now.
Yeah.
They're on a boat, apparently, and they're going to be here. And I don't know when. I'm hoping soon. But until that point comes, I can only use American bats. And it's not the same thing.
No, it's like using choice beef and not Wagyu.
It does not have nearly the same flavor, cachet, or
Wuhaniness,
or level of disease.
Yes, of course. Yeah, we don't want the level of disease, by the way.
No, we sure don't.
Now, we joined you in Gray's. Not Tacos has been out for quite a while doing great business. Gray's is open. It's smaller. There's not a kitchen. You said you have one of those Starbucks type of ovens.
Yeah, I have a Turbo Chef that you can see at any Starbucks. We just have, I think, a larger version of it, but still, it's the same concept.
Do you have a thought now that you're? I mean, what are you like officially in a couple weeks open now to the public? If that
2 weeks.
All right. So
we're in our third.
What is your thought 2 and 3 weeks in? And I'm asking you from this point of reference. You had a 2-week reference point of not Tacos. So how do we compare those, and can we compare those?
It's the cooking situation at Not is definitely easier. Almost everything comes off a flat top. It's one kind of simple system. Tortillas go on one flat top, the proteins go on another. They come off, they go on the line, the tortillas get built with, the cabbage or the sauces or whatever, and then the proteins go on, and then they get finished and they go out. We don't have that luxury at Gray's. We have this machine. That being said, I'm learning to really love this machine. It's crazy what it can do. I've had to rethink recipes that I normally would cook a different way. This machine, and I may have told you this, in one of our offline conversations. It has 3 different ways to cook. It's a convection oven to start with.
Right.
There's heat that comes from the top. There's heat that comes from the bottom, and then there's microwave. And you can add percentages of each as many different ways as you want. So, for example, our flatbreads that go in, that are, they're like this thick, they go in for 2 minutes. There's virtually no microwave. It's bottom heat and top heat, and they come out crispy and gorgeous and amazing. I'm so proud of them. But we do this meatball thing it's a meatball we make that's in a puff pastry, and it's all cooked. We make the meatballs separately, we cook them. Then we take the puff pastry and we put it in a thing, and the meatball with marinara and cheese in it, and then we bake that. So it's essentially baked, and it's in our refrigerator drawer. Then we've figured out how to take it out and get it in this machine so that the puff pastry stays crispy when you're reheating it, but the meatball heats through. So there's a certain amount of microwave that we've had to add to that, or this, 2-ounce meatball about that big gets heated all the way through.
Because that's got to be the biggest hurdle I know when I'm reheating spaghetti and meatballs at my house.
100%.
It's tough if you're going to leave, and I always end up whacking the meatball into 4 or 5 different pieces because it's just going to heat easier. You don't want to do that in a presentation situation for a restaurant.
No, that's exactly right. So I've had to, it's one thing to figure out, I want to serve this, and I know how to put this in my oven and have it come out 15 minutes later, beautiful.
Right.
But I don't have 15 minutes for that in a small restaurant like this. People don't want that. This is a different environment. It's a shareable thing. It's not like you order a steak and you're okay with it coming out a half an hour later because there's going to be a salad and an appetizer. These are all small shareable things that they want to come out relatively quick. So it's been a challenge and a huge effing pain in the ass in the beginning, but I've learned to love this machine so much that the next restaurant 100% will absolutely have 1, maybe 2 of these.
Really?
For certain things.
Wow.
And I've said this. I said, look, Starbucks uses it. I go, imagine like this is a Ferrari. And Starbucks uses it to drive. Starbucks uses it to go to the end of the driveway. They get in, they start it up, they go to the end of the driveway, they pick up their mail out of the mailbox, and they go back to the garage.
Yep.
We get in it, and we take it out on the freeway, and we open it up.
Yeah.
I think we're using it in a much more aggressive, fun way than Starbucks is, but that's what their need is. Their need is an English muffin with turkey and an egg white patty.
Double
inside.
smoked bacon sandwich.
That's all they're doing. And I get that, and that's fine. I'm not knocking them. I'm just saying that this machine has so much promise, and we're trying to use it every way we can.
Sam, the Cooking Guy, joining me here on the show, thecookingguy.com, his website. What percentage of sales at Gray's is food, and what is drink? Like, are people going to drink and also eat, or are people going to eat and then also... Did I just get myself confused? Are people going to drink and then also grab a bite because they're there, or are they reversing?
You got everybody confused.
Yes. Thank you.
The alcohol is about 60%, maybe a little bit less.
So people are coming to drink first and then grab a bite while they're there.
I don't know. I know the percentages.
Maybe it's 50-50.
No. I don't know why they come, but the dollars that are spent on alcohol are greater than the dollars that are spent on food.
So would you say that you are first a craft cocktail and drink place that serves some pretty decent food, or you're not willing to, put any real labels on it? It's just a place to go and
no.
And
I think we've got a really strong wine program.
Oh.
We've got 10 beers on tap. We have wine you can buy to go. We have wine you can buy there. We have beer you can take away. It's a bottle shop, which, bottle shop sounds like
strip
you're
club.
in the middle of it's strip. Thank you. Exactly. Yeah. So it's slightly more sophisticated than that, but I think people can come in and they'll get a flatbread for, like $12. But a couple cocktails will be, twice that.
Yeah.
Just the way it is. So, and I'm okay with that, and they're okay with that. So the food dollars are not nearly what the alcohol dollars are, and you know what happens. The people like to drink, and then one cocktail leads to another one, and then some wine, and then that's how it goes. So but it's fun. But for me, what's fun is, this meatball thing that we do, I've done on YouTube. And, when we opened Not Tacos, 2 of the tacos we opened with are very popular, the mashed potato taco and the shrimp taco. People said to me, dude, look, you can't put in your restaurant shit that you've done on TV that's in your books that you've done on YouTube.
Why?
That's what I said. I go, why not? And they go, why would somebody pay for something that they know how to make at home? And I go, you are missing a very important concept of the restaurant business. I go out to eat for many reasons. One is I don't want to make an effing thing.
Yeah.
2 is I don't know how to make whatever it is that I want. 3 is I don't give a shit. I just want to go out and have somebody make stuff for me.
Right.
And so the shrimp taco, which I named after my wife, Kelly, where I get the crap kicked out of me, has been the third most selling taco we have. The mashed potato taco, it's right up there. The meatball thing and the crispy puff pastry that we have over here at Gray's, it's huge. It's like the number one selling thing, number two selling thing. Even though those meatballs, you could go to Sam the Cooking Guy on YouTube, find the recipe and make it right now. And by the way, it's a damn good meatball. And I think the key to it is it's pork, it's beef, and it's veal. But the real secret is that there's ricotta in it.
Oh.
It helps keep it moist and tender and delicious.
Breadcrumbs too?
There's always a little bit, of course.
Eggs?
Yeah, we use panko. Yes, of course.
Yes, all right.
Yes.
I'm not asking for anything top secret.
No, it's not top secret. It's on the thing. Look, we've pulled the curtain
QP
back.
mayo?
Oh, that's funny.
No?
We've pulled the curtain back on so many things we've done.
Yeah.
And who cares?
Well,
I've said for a long time, before I got into the restaurant business, you go to a great restaurant, a restaurant that's confident in what they do, and you eat a salad or you have an appetizer, and then you go away and you get home and you're thinking about how good it is. You email or you text or you call and you go, can you tell me what the ingredients were for that salad? And they're going to tell you because they know it's not about the ingredients. It's about the environment, the experience, the way it's plated, the whole thing. Restaurants that are confident in what they do happily give up recipes.
Could you do this? Could you and Max search through the food videos that you've done, pull out the top 6 most viewed videos from a food standpoint, and then put them on a menu at Knock Knock or Great, or this new one that we're not going to be able to talk about it because we don't have the time, but this new restaurant. Could you do a Sam the Cooking Guy YouTube channel special menu for the week, and you pull out the top 5 or 6? Is that an idea that you guys have talked about?
No, but it's an idea you've talked about.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the antithesis of whatever the dumbasses were telling you not to do. But for the majority of us, that would seem like it would be a really cool thing to go in and have Sam and the crew make the stuff that we've seen you make. To me, it's totally a win, because certainly you've given me the blueprint to do it myself.
Yes.
But that it almost adds an extra level of heightenedness to be in your restaurant and have somebody cook your dishes for me to experience. I think that would be super
like that.
cool.
That's interesting. Somebody asked me the other day, is this next restaurant, which is yet to be named, will it be like your YouTube channel? And I said, look, it'll definitely be more like my YouTube channel than Not Tacos or Gray's, 100%. It's not going to be everything off the YouTube channel, but it will for sure be more, because it's that kind of restaurant. It's it's proper restaurant, it's proper kitchen. It allows for the stretching out of how we do things, what we make, breadth of menu, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I can tell you this, it will have one damn strong and fine brunch program, because it's my favorite part of the day, or weekend, or whenever you have brunch.
Sunday, I think. You have brunch on Sunday. In Cleveland, you have brunch on Sunday. That's it.
What happens Saturday? You're tying up the people you've got kidnapped in your basement?
Sam, time for a new joke. I hate to say it. We can't do it anymore.
You
can't do it.
Why can't you have a Sunday brunch?
I'm just
Saturday
telling you,
brunch?
if you come to Cleveland, brunch is on Sunday. There's no brunch on Saturday. Okay? I don't know.
I'm going to tell you this. I've had plenty of Saturday brunches, and they've been effing delicious.
I bet. But it's a different lifestyle over in one of the most beautiful places in the country.
That's cute. But by the way, that joke about tying up people in your basement,
how dare you?
Never going away.
Never?
No matter how many times Greta Thunberg says, how dare you?
How dare you?
She'll keep saying it. She can say it more than you can joke about, I think.
You've got her tied up in your basement, apparently.
What?
How dare you?
Outrageous. Now, look, I've kept you. I've pulled you out of the restaurants. Obviously, people were trying to get a piece of you as you were milling through the gardens there. So I don't want to keep you any further. Plus, I have Weber pellet grill stuff to talk about with Kevin Coleman on the backside of this. So, as always,
By the way,
yeah, go ahead.
By the way, I'm listening to that. I'm waiting to hear everything that the Weber guys has to say.
All right. Well, we'll have to see coming up next. But in the meantime, thecookingguy.com is where you can find Sam website-wise. Check him out on the YouTube, where you now have 1.53 million subscribers, which I think is pretty much everybody in the country at this point. And the first Tuesday of the month, you can find him right here on the Barbecue Central show. Sam, as always, my friend, thanks so much for coming on, and we'll see you again next month.
You're the best, bro. Thanks, Greg.
All right, you got it. Look at this guy making room for me. Okay, you told me where to go. You told me it would be okay here in the restaurant, but evidently it's not. I know. I'm sorry. It's my fault. But he fixed it. That's why he's a pro. All right, quickly, let me talk to you about Green Mountain Grills, some of the best pellet cookers out there on the market. They have a Choice line, which is the original. They have a Prime line, which is their latest release about a year ago. Prime, a little bit more robust on the build. You have the peek-in windows and the cooking chamber on the pellet hopper, 2 internal meat probes. Great Wi-Fi interface, all the fun stuff. If you don't want to spend the extra cash on that, Choice line is certainly a great option for you to choose. I have 2 Choice cookers, and I have a new Prime cooker in the garage yet to be put together, but I'll try to do that here over the next couple weeks, because I think winter is pretty much it. It's not supposed to be any colder than 35 degrees here over the next 7-8 days. I'll take it. They also have pellets and accessories and all the good stuff for you to choose from. So head on over to greenmountaingrills.com. That's greenmountaingrills.com. And don't forget, if you have a Jim Bowie or a Daniel Boone, the pizza oven is also something that you want to check out. Get that. Pizza is fun. High heat pizza, even better. And you can do it right there on the Green Mountain Grill if you're not going to use it for the barbecuing and the high heat and all that other stuff. greenmountaingrills.com. We are back with Kevin Coleman and Weber. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Lampe.
All right, welcome back. Thanks again to Sam, the cooking guy, for joining me last segment. This portion of the show being brought to you by Pit Barrel Cooker, the most unbelievable outdoor cooking device on the planet, currently available in 2 sizes, with a host of accessories to choose from. Whether you're a beginner or professional, definitely a cooker you want to add to the arsenal. Visit pitbarrelcooker.com and tell them the Barbecue Central Show sent you. 10 years in the biz, and they're going to be hosting some stuff for NBBQA coming up here in a few short weeks, so be sure to head on over to pitbarrelcooker.com. Hey, the pellet cooker market continues to gain popularity, right? You know it. And there has probably been no single bigger release in perhaps pellet cooker history than the product we'll be talking about here over the next segment. That, of course, is the Weber SmokeFire, as we welcome back Weber's grill master, Kevin Coleman. Kevin, how are you, buddy? I don't hear you. Oh, dear. Hello? A survey. I got you off mute. That's good. I'll just try and call you right back. Maybe there's a little hiccup in the worldwide internet. Oh, I think I heard him coming back there. Try it again. Oh, dear. Kevin. No, I don't got you. Getting some kind of feedback. So we're almost there, but we're not there for some reason. That is the weirdest loop I've heard ever. We want a phone call in? Let me see here. Go here. I just shot you the call-in number there, so if you want to... Wow, we... Do I have a... It's audio call. All right. Trying to go cell phone here. So stand by. If we have to go long, I mean, we'll go long. I don't care. We'll get it in. Let me just pull up the cell phone number here from Mr. Kevin. And we'll get rocking and rolling. And we'll go to the calls. Oh. This is a tragedy. When it's all working against you, it is all working against you. All right. I don't want to say it out loud. Give you guys the number. Here we go. And we're connecting. This has to work, I'm sure.
Sure.
Kevin.
Yes, sir. I got you.
Here we go. All right. Little technical difficulty there, but we are rocking and rolling now, which is the way we love to do it. So appreciate you making time for me this evening. So first questions first, Kevin. What's your best 5K time?
My best 5K is about 24 minutes and about 45 seconds, which for a 42-year-old, that's not too bad, I don't think.
All right, good for you. That is a solid pace, no doubt about it.
But understand, I'm fueled by smoke and fire. So just we'll throw that out there first.
Are you like EPA compliant, like my tractor trailers are? Or are you burning a little dirtier?
We like to burn a little dirtier because if you're not cheating, you're not winning, right?
Yeah.
So you got to make sure you got a little bit of stuff going on there.
That's right. No doubt about it. Kevin Coleman joining me here on the show, Director of Brand Education, Weber's Grill Master. Weber.com is the website, by the way. All right, Kevin, are you ready to get uncomfortable?
Greg, I'm always uncomfortable. You should wear the clothes I have to wear sometimes.
Let's get uncomfortable. I saw that sweatshirt the last time you were on. I mean, that looked pretty comfortable. But all right, let's get uncomfortable. So look, in no particular order, and we're talking about SmokeFire tonight, of course. Let's start here. From a conversation standpoint at Weber, whatever you're allowed to share with us, what are the conversations that are happening right now at Weber about SmokeFire since its release? We're a couple, 2-3 weeks out at this point with people getting it in their hands and going through the paces. What are you guys hearing from the corporate office?
Yeah, overwhelmingly, we are 100% taken back by how well this grill has gone into the marketplace and how much people are talking about it. We didn't think it was going to have as big of an impact as it's had, and it is. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week being talked about, which is pretty fantastic. I don't think there's been a grill that's been out in the last 5 to 10 years that's been talked about more. And the exciting thing is we've had a few things that people have gotten really excited about, and we've had a lot of things that people are cooking and getting excited about. So, it's one of those things that in this day and age, everybody likes to get on the social media sites and post what they're doing and how they're doing it. And for this grill, we did not expect it to have as big of an impact as we've had, which has been really exciting.
All right, Kevin, let's take a quick stroll back. When you were on in November, you had mentioned that you had, roughly 800 or so hours of testing on this unit personally. Were you the only one that was testing, or does Weber have, I don't know if it's called beta testers or, non-retail testers or whatever, where it might be 10 people or 40 people or 100 people or whatever that number is, so you guys can put SmokeFire through its paces before it's released out to the general public?
As much as I would like to say that I was the only person in the history of the world to test this grill, which would be pretty cool, we have an extensive group of individuals that were testing these, not only in their backyards, but at our R&D facilities. And so we put them through so many hours of testing, cooking, the Weber pellets, competitor pellets, grease test, cooking test, high heat test. I mean, it ran through the gambit of what we thought was a really solid cooker that people were going to finally see a pellet grill and a smoker together, as opposed to what they've seen as just a pellet smoker.
If you get through some of the, there's in Facebook, there seems to be quite a number of, let's call it SmokeFire group that are specifically related to this cooker. As people are bringing to the forefront issues that they're having, do you notice, as somebody who has hundreds of hours on it, and some of these other folks that were also testing in a beta phase, did you guys have similar issues? And we'll get into, some of the more ones that I'm seeing over and over again, but how many issues or things did you guys come across during the testing time that you guys ironed out prior to this thing going to the market?
Well, the exciting thing for us is we finally, prior to SmokeFire being launched, we weren't a technology company. Now we're a technology company. So we had to go through not only the regular testing that we do, like I have one of the original Summit Charcoals in my backyard. I have one of the original Genesis in my backyard that I spent so much time on. So this is something that we constantly do. Adding the technology added a layer for us because it's now allowed us to have people interact with a grill like they've never been able to do before. And so being able to not only handle the technology, but then also how the grill performed, this is one of the first times we've had to do both. And to combine those two things and give overall the majority of people a great cooking experience is something that we pride ourselves on, because we spent so much time in the R&D and testing phase to make sure that this was going to produce the results that we wanted people to get in their backyards. That's been, the legacy of Weber for over 60 years.
Kevin Coleman joining me here on the show, Weber.com, the website. Kevin, it has been floated out through various Facebook groups that perhaps the SmokeFire, I struggle asking this question because I don't know if you can say rush to market, considering how evolved the pellet cooker market has been. I mean, you guys are literally the last ones to jump in at this point. But was the SmokeFire rushed to market? Is that a true or false statement?
That's a false statement. We've spent more time on this grill than we have some of our previous grills that we've come to market with. And for a lot of people out there, this is truly a first of a kind. This is a first pellet grill and smoker. So people that are looking at this grill and cooking on it, the only experience that they probably have, very similar to myself when I was testing almost every pellet grill that was in the marketplace, major brand, for about 9 months. That's the only experience I had. And when I got the SmokeFire put in my backyard, and the first time I seared a steak at a high temperature, I felt like I was cooking on a gas grill, right? And then I was doing low and slow stuff, and I felt like I was on a Weber Smoky Mountain, or I was on a Weber kettle. So we tried to take the best of both of those worlds and put it in a grill, a true grill and smoker, versus just giving somebody that's a smoker that's just cooking with a lot of the hot air, right? And so when you see some of the flare-ups that occur like you would see on a gas grill or even a charcoal grill, that's just normal performance that you would see out of a Weber grill. That's nothing new to us. That's something that our customers have loved and have had the best results in their backyard. So it's interesting on how, Max Good, who I've spent some time with him, he's cooking more and more, because even out of his mouth was, this is a grill, this is something I've never been experienced before in my life. So I need to spend more time with it. And it isn't just a 1 or 2 cook thing and like, let me give you a review. There's a lot more time that needs to be put into to really understand how and why we designed it the way we did.
Kevin, when you hear the items that the SmokeFire owners are talking about on the various Facebook owner groups, is it alarming at all to the group, or does Weber discount a certain percentage of whatever comments are being made and chalking it up to some kind of trolling or user error or something along these lines?
Well, fortunate for us is when you look at the online forums and videos, right, you might see a high percentage of SmokeFire conversation, but when it comes to the people that are calling in the customer service, the people that we're servicing, that percentage is really low, right? So I wouldn't necessarily say it's the trolls, but I wouldn't necessarily say that, everybody's having this huge issue, because that's not the key. But what's important for Weber is being around for 60 years and priding ourselves on customer service, which, by the way, is still here in Palatine, Illinois. They're there 7 days a week answering calls. And that's one thing we always prided ourselves on, is taking care of customers. It's one of those things that providing that service for people and actually looking at the forums and seeing what people are talking about is helping us think about how we can make this grill better. And because it's Wi-Fi connected, because it has the Weber Connect built into it in the June OS, we can update this grill and evolve it over time and truly give people a cooking experience in their backyard that they've never had before and they're probably never going to have again. It's fantastic what this grill can do.
Is there any thought that a lot of this negativity might be fueled by competitors within the market? They're just sending people into these rooms and trolling it up as best they can in hopes of defeating you through some type of social media or anti-social media campaign.
Well, I think in this day and age, we have the people that sit behind their computers and like to see drama. You see almost every reality TV show creates drama. And it's one of those things that, you know, just like a good fire, the more oxygen it has, it starts to burn. And, you know, the fun thing about the world is it's big today and then it's gone the next day. If you don't have enough fuel and you don't have enough, you know, wood for your fire, eventually it's going to go out. And the people hit it hard early on. And there was people that didn't have the grills that were commenting and other things, which was fun to watch. But now you're starting to see, and it was some of the comments that we made early on, is like the people that are cooking, they're not commenting because they're cooking. And so now all of a sudden you've seen a swing the other way where people are showing their pizzas and their briskets and their shoulders and their beef ribs and all these crazy things, steaks that they're cooking. And it's drowning out all the rest of the noise that was just being, you know, kind of talked about, but not really with anybody that had application cooking on it. So, you know, it's a balance and it happens. It's not just a Weber thing. It's an industry thing. No matter what you say, someone's going to have something to troll you with, which I look forward to tomorrow morning and seeing what's going to be written then, which I thank you for letting us be on so I can enjoy that in my morning read at 4 a.m. when I wake up and start texting you about what's going on. So,
no doubt about it. Kevin Coleman joining us here on the show. One final high-level question before we start getting into some of the specific stuff. Has there been any talk by Weber at all about doing any kind of recall on these cookers?
Absolutely not. And you know, the interesting thing with some of the conversation out there, this is one of the only grills, I think, in the pellet industry that is CSA certified. So that's an independent safety testing lab that goes through this. And the other interesting thing that people don't realize is this grill actually has a sensor on it. So if the heat gets too hot inside that grill, it'll automatically shut itself down. Now that's something you don't see on a gas grill, you don't see on a charcoal grill, and it's built into this grill. So the people that are talking about safety, that's one thing that Weber has taken so extremely seriously over time. And that's something that we are going to always be looking at and always be on the forefront of, because we want to make sure that people are having those same memories that they were taught, you know, 20, 30, 40 years ago by their parents, that they're still going to be able to have. And we want to be part of that memory bank. And so safety has always been important, and at no point has been a recall ever talked about, because the safety that's been built into this grill negates all that stuff, right?
All right, so let's get into some of the specific stuff as I'm going through, because, you know, I join all these and I love to see what people are saying and just kind of sit back and watch what's going on. Number one, and we've kind of touched on it here a few different times, grease fire hazard. For instance, Baby Back Maniac, I forget what his real name is, but on YouTube, he's Baby Back Maniac. He's got a pretty decent following, maybe 25 or 30,000 subs, and I might be off on that. But showing the aftermath of what appeared to be a fire while he was cooking 2 pork butts. Others have posted fires in some form or fashion on those cookers. So, you know, your thoughts in general about the SmokeFire being some kind of a fire hazard, and of the videos that you have seen, things that you've been able to decipher from those as being a root cause.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things that, you know, Justin, Baby Back Maniac, he's a great guy, cooks great food, has a great following, and he has his opinion, right? And I wish he would have spent more time. And I talked to Justin and said, hey, I'd love to come down just to make sure the grill was put together correctly and the parts were put in it correctly, so it was responding correctly. And we didn't get that chance, which is okay. And he gave his review. And the thing is, in this day and age, unless we're seeing what people are cooking and how they're doing it, it's really hard to decipher what exactly went wrong. Because in the instructions we tell you, make sure that you clean out the bottom portion after you get done cooking. Harry Sue just posted a video that he cooked 65 pounds on his SmokeFire. He had a little bit of a flare up that lasted 2 minutes, closed the lid and it was out. And that was all that he had there. And so it's really hard to understand how people are doing things, because just like a gas grill or charcoal grill, if you're cooking over time and you're not cleaning it and maintaining it, you're most likely going to have some kind of issue with performance no matter what's going to be said, right? And that's just not a Weber issue. That's just a grill issue in itself. And so it's really hard for us to decipher that, because we know with the testing that we've done that those normal behavior doesn't occur. Now, I will tell you, just by the design, this pellet grill has a short auger system that's straight down the middle of the back, which allows our temperatures to recycle faster, which allows us to get up to that 600-degree temperature for searing, caramelizing, and everything else. Well, in this day and age of social media, when you have the lids open more and people are taking pictures, which they love, and they love taking pictures of what they're cooking, the unit's dropping in temperature. And so it's trying to respond saying, okay, we're dropping in temperature. Let's add some more fan and let's add some more pellets. Well, if people are keeping it open 5-6 minutes, doing what they're doing, they're watching something, the chances of things increasing happen. Now, I know, just working at Weber, my daughters are 5 and 7. They know this. If you're seeing a flare up, first thing you do, you close the lid. If you have a kettle grill, first thing you do is shut the damper for 30 seconds. And most likely all that flare up issue is going to go away. And that's the same thing with SmokeFire. But, you know, I think people are just with the caveman in them are enamored by fire, and they like looking at it. And all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, a 2-inch by 2-inch flame is not necessarily what I would call a fire. What I would call a fire is something that you would be calling the fire department or an expert and saying, hey, there's an issue going on here. So, and again, if a grill got to that point, it would shut down and you would have no fan, no fuel, no nothing else, and it would burn out what's inside and it would be gone. And that's one of the safety features that has been built into it, which does make it a safe product for people to use.
Is there, with this cooker then, a mindset that needs to change where this is not like every other pellet cooker? You don't have a full-size deflector shield to channel grease down into some type of collection pan, and then also not allow you direct access to the flame. Certainly, you have the flavorizer bars, which we'll talk about here in a second, but otherwise, it is more like a grill than it is a traditional pellet-style cooker.
Yes, it is more of a grill and a pellet-style cooker. And what you have to, I think, look at is back in 1985, well, back when George Stephen originally invented the kettle, he revolutionized the grilling industry. Back in 1985, when we came out with our original Genesis grill with the flavorizer bar system in it, people thought we were crazy, right? Because back then they used lava rock. Now, you want to talk about flare-ups and fires, they sold spray bottles with water so you could douse out the flames inside of your grill that was occurring on the lava rocks. We went to the flavorizer bars, and now that's something you see in almost every grill, gas grill, that's out in the marketplace. And I think it's going to be interesting in 2 or 3, 4 years, how much of the grills, how much people look at the way we have our system set up now and start to mimic that in the marketplace, because you can't do that kind of 500-600 degree grilling on things that are out in the marketplace. You just can't do it by design. And so when we looked at the consumer research, when we talked to people, we took those pain points, right? The short auger doesn't have a really good chance of it getting jammed, having any of the backfires into the hopper. And so when you look at all that stuff, we just tried to design that grill the Weber way, the Weber performance way, with the flavorizer bars, with the low and slow, with the grease management, like the drawer, very similar to our Genesis or our Summits or our Spirits, where you could just pull the pan out, throw out the grease, throw out the ash, and get yourself cooking. So it's one of those things that it's the whole cooking system, and people need to look at it much differently than you would a pellet grill or a pellet smoker that you've seen out there before this, because it is a revolutionary product that it gives you things that you've never been able to do on a pellet grill before.
Kevin, when I had Derek Riches on last week, he made it a point to say that Weber's decision to use flavorizer bars in this cooker wasn't necessarily to break a mold or get away from something that is widely done otherwise amongst all the other pellet cookers. It was simply the fact that flavorizer bars are on hand. It would be cost prohibitive for you guys to go out and do something different, so why not just use what you currently have in inventory and make it work for this cooker? Is there any type of a truth to that it was more cost savings than anything else?
No, anytime that we come up with a new grill, there's not necessarily the cost savings, like, well, let's try to do this or let's try to implement this. And that's part of some of the speculation and the swirl that's out there is people's opinions, although I respect the opinions. When you're designing a grill, and back in '85 when we came out with our Genesis and put flavor bars in there that channel grease away, that give you that smoky flavor back up, why wouldn't we want to use one of those things that revolutionized the grilling industry in this pellet grill? Because it is part of the Weber DNA. And that's where I think people have to take a step back and look at this grill, that it's not out of convenience, it's out of the DNA of what Weber has designed since 1985 inside of a gas grill. You still see those in our Spirit grills. You still see those in our Genesis. You see them in our Summit. You see them in our Q grills that's actually built into the cooking grate. So when we talk about channeling grease and smoke flavor and flavor profiles and getting that great barbecue flavor, it's something you're going to see in our grills because we know that it works. And being in the industry for 60 years, we're going to continue to rely on what has made us so successful.
All right, Kevin, so when you get a SmokeFire, at least at this point, and I'm sure down the road it will change, out of the box, immediately one must do a firmware update in order to get this cooker to a point where it can actually be used out of the box, something that you can't just open up, assemble, and cook on. Is that correct?
Well, for the most part, depending on when you're getting them, the firmware update, making sure the software update is important. And this is where, for a lot of people, they were updating their grills and they were starting to cook. And then once the update started taking over, the cook started to stop because the update was going on. And so what we recommend is you get the grill started, update the grill, which can take you about 15 to 20 minutes, and then get your stuff cooking. Because a lot of people get excited, and trust me, I'm one of those guys that just wants to take it out of the box and start cooking. But you need to make sure it's updated to the current software so that way you can get up and actually start cooking versus trying to start cooking and then updating it. And then all of a sudden the cook stops because the grill's updating itself. So just be patient, give it the 15, 20 minutes, get yourself a cold beer, maybe two, relax, season your steaks, because we all know the salt penetrates in, it gives a little more flavor, do that, and then you'll be set and ready to go.
If the grill hasn't ever been out before, how come the technology that's on it isn't the most up to date? Why do you have to do an update?
Well, I think it's one of those, when you look at technology and how it evolves, this is just like your iPhones, right? Your iPhone isn't running the same software package that it had way back when the iPhone 1 was out. And so when we look at updates to cook programs, because the Weber Connect really allows for all that, right? It's a smart grilling hub. My team tested 700-800 different things. We data logged how things cook over time. We have built-in programs that can tell you when to take your steak off. Like hypothetically, if you want a medium rare steak at 120, 115, we'll tell you to take it off at 100 to 105 because we know the carryover is about 13 to 17 degrees. And so all that stuff's built in to that Weber Connect. And so we're constantly going to look at evolving this, and you'll probably see updates coming monthly with recipes, with cook programs, probably with features that we haven't even thought about for the SmokeFire, because this grill is going to evolve in the backyard. And again, we weren't a software company before it came out. We're a technology company now. And, do we have a couple missteps? Absolutely. But it's one of those things that for the mass majority of people, they're having a great experience with it. And from our perspective, and you hit it on it earlier, we look at the forums, we look at the feedback people are giving us, and we've got such a strong team of people at the office that are looking at how do we make the cooking experience better. And the cool thing about it is on a gas grill, once you buy it, that's the experience. It's really hard to change things. With the SmokeFire, we're going to be able to evolve this grill over time with updates and things that people are going to be able to cook better. And we're going to be able to adjust how they cook and how we design programs for them to cook by the way that they're cooking. So the cool thing is we're learning, the people out there are learning, and together we're going to evolve this process and truly make this cooker revolutionary, which is what it is.
One of the things that I'm seeing more and more, it wasn't there initially, but I am seeing it a little bit more, is issues at startup or firing up. So for whatever reason, the pot isn't igniting, the grill goes into shutdown mode, it never ends up getting going. Is this something that you guys are seeing more at this point, or did it just kind of bubble up and that was the latest hot issue over the last handful of days?
Well, I mean, it's something that there's, people have talked about the hopper and the pellets falling down
I'll get to that.
Well, no, I mean, there's things that we look at, and the startup, and is it the glow plug? Is it the pellets that people are using? Because that can change the way things are. Could it, if there's a lot of sawdust in the bottom, or they run through the bag and they're running through, is that part of it's not cleaning the pellets? So the pellets could be part of it. It could be part of the system. And so, again, these are things that our team is looking at, and you're going to see some updates coming soon that are going to evolve a little bit of that process and take care of some of the things that some of the concerns or things people are having out there that we're going to address here in the next couple of weeks that are going to alleviate those things and make the cooking experience better. But that's the fun part and the exciting part about this grill, is it is going to evolve with how people are using it, right? And that's exciting, because the people that are having a blast cooking on it, making crazy food, making it look just the way that it should, we're using that feedback, and it's helping us design it better for the next update and the next update. And that's, we've always listened to consumers. We take pride in that, being a manufacturer that does the majority of their stuff here. And, we're always going to listen to customers. We're always going to listen to what they're saying, see if we can make it better for them. And with this grill, we're able to do that with updates, and that's going to be exciting.
Is part of operation with any pellet grill, and I've talked to a few, some of personal folks that I know that are owning these, that will experience what I call a flame out. So, for instance, they're running at, let's say, 275. They want to go to increase the temperature. They come back 10 minutes later. The temperature of the cooker is now at 190 because, for whatever reason, the fire has gone out. Now it's trying to go ahead and reset. And it either shuts all the way down and you have to start back from scratch, or for instance, one of my pals had an issue where it wasn't shutting back down, but it was continuing to feed. And, all of a sudden, I think he had a little bit of a perfect storm where there was a bunch of smoke as it was starting to reignite. And then the pellets caught on fire, burned back down after a couple minutes. Certainly didn't shut off like you had mentioned from a safety perspective. But, I've had flame outs in other cookers. Is this something that one should expect from time to time, that this is going to happen as well? It's not just specific to a Weber SmokeFire.
Well, no, I mean, I wasn't at your friend's house, so I don't know what temperatures were on the inside of the grill. If they were hot enough, which is a little bit over 600 degrees, you would have seen it go into shutdown mode if that's what the temperature range hit. What I don't know is, so this is things that we're learning, getting into it, and people that live in the pellet industry understand. There could have been a bridge, is what they call it, or a blockage where the pellets got stuck. The auger was feeding. There wasn't anything getting fed. You open up the grill, or that bridge or that gap released itself, and all of a sudden the pellets started going. Well, the unit's shutting itself down, and now it's adding pellets to it. So you could have the pellets getting in there, snuffing out. And that's something that we didn't see, but it's something that we are seeing because people are using lots of different pellets, which is what we've tested. But again, it's hard to understand unless you're sitting in front of them. So these are feedback that we've taken from people passing it back to us that, like I said, in the upcoming weeks, you're going to see some updates coming that are going to alleviate some of these things. And it's going to really help with some of the issues people are having with the flame outs or the excess pellets getting into the burn pot, and et cetera. So you'll see that coming, and it's something that we're going to continually evolve over time and update and truly try to chase the dream of having the perfect cooker.
So the biggest thing that you see right off the bat was the pellet hopper isn't feeding properly, and it was specific to one side that wasn't feeding down all the way, and you were having to go out, through random times throughout a longer cook and kind of hand feed the pellets down. So what's the current fix at this stage?
Well, the data that we had gave you about 10 hours. Harry Sue just got done testing his. He said about 7.5 hours he went down and moved it, which I know myself when I'm using my Smoky Mountains at night or my Summit Charcoal, I make sure I check the fuel before I go to bed just to make sure. The slide in the hopper we're addressing, and so there's an insert that's going to be put into the grill's getting manufactured. For the people that have it, they're going to be able to get one from us, and it takes it from about, let's say, the 10 to 14 hour mark. You're going to get up to about 14 to 18 hours out of it. So we adjusted that in. You'll lose a little bit on the space of the pellets, which I think it was 22 pounds. It might drop to 20 now, so a full bag. But you're going to definitely increase because of the angle down into the auger system, or the chute into the auger system, into the burn pot.
If somebody's not able to get to 600 degrees, what are your suggestions?
Suggestions would be make sure your firmware is up to date. It could be a chute issue. It could be the auger issue. It could, it's funny, Greg. I was in Florida. This is early on in my career when Jim Stephen, whose father founded the business, created a position for me doing product training. And I was down in Florida doing troubleshooting on a grill. It was a summit, and it couldn't get up to temperature. It was sitting at 400 degrees. And I'm thinking it's bypass, which is the safety feature built into the regulator. So I'm sitting there. I couldn't figure it out. And after about 50 minutes, it finally clicked to my head. I'm like, maybe the thermometer is bad, or maybe it's not registering correctly. So some of not getting the 600 could be attributed to the actual probe not working correctly. But it is one of those things for the people that are having problems out there. We have a new chute and auger system that we've been passing to consumers. I think also with the update that's going to be coming in mid-March-ish, or in a couple of weeks, should address some of that too. And so the 500 to 600 degrees, the 600 degrees will be addressed. But it's one of those things that's hard to say. It could be partially pellets. It could be the software. It could be the auger system. And so, the challenge with us is for a pellet grill, our customer service people work tirelessly trying to make sure that they take care of customers. And I know, because I started in customer service way back in the day and worked my way up through Weber, that it's simple to diagnose a gas grill or a charcoal grill, right? It's not many questions to help that. With pellet grilling, it's really increased the amount of time they want to talk through consumers and try to figure out and decipher what's wrong. And so those calls could be 25, 30, 35 minutes, because they really have to break down what exactly is it a mechanical issue, or is it actually the software issue? And so it's one of those things we're learning that, and I give a lot of credit to our customer service team, because they've spent tireless hours training with us and spending time with consumers on the phone and making sure that they're getting the level of service they deserve being a Weber person. But we're learning through this process. We understand people are having some issues and concerns. And again, as a company that has prided themselves on customer service, we will always be there for our customers. We will always take care of them like we should. And that's something that makes me proud to say I work for Weber.
Is there truth to videos showing that if we're looking at the grill, Kevin, that the right side of the cooker runs hotter than the left side?
I think you'll see some differential in frame temperature, right? Usually what I would say is on that grill, you'll see about a 25 to 30 degree differential between like one hot spot to another. The interesting thing that I would say is, and it's kind of mind boggling, because when we had, you've hit in a little bit on the influencer event we had here in November, I had steaks across the whole SmokeFire grill. This was not a prototype grill. This was straight out of the box sitting there, and I had a bunch of strip steaks on there, and I flipped every single one. And yeah, you would say the right side was a little bit hotter, but they all had the same kind of browning and marking on it. And I think that has to do with the fan on the inside. So just because the grate temperature is telling you one spot is going to be hotter than the other, to us, it's more about the browning across the whole grate. And the other thing that I would say too, when you look at pellets, right? So when a pellet, especially a Weber pellet, combusts, it takes about 4 minutes. And so what I would tell people is when they get up to that 550, 600 degree temperature they're looking at, give it 4 or 5 minutes just to equalize itself, because it was roaring to get up there and then eventually starts to pull back when it starts getting closer there. But I would give it a couple extra minutes just to equalize, and that lessens the amount of the hot spot that you might call more towards on the right side. But when it comes to caramelizing and browning meat and burgers and steaks that you put across it, you really don't see too much of a difference between the right and the left.
What do we know about ash not falling through the burn pot as originally pitched back in November? Is it really happening the way that you said it was going, or are there some issues that are keeping it from performing as advertised?
So can you be a little more specific? So you're saying that when
the
pellets are falling into the burn pot, and then they're staying in the burn pot, they're not falling through?
Right. So there's the perforated bottom of the burn pot, and those were supposed to fall through into the collection pan, and they weren't going to, get the. I guess when we were talking in November, you said there wasn't going to be, near as much fly ash circulating around the food because it had the opportunity to fall through the bottom of that burn pot.
So you're definitely seeing, I mean, we saw a substantial decrease in the amount of ash falling around the inside of that barrel. And so that grate helps push the ash down, right? Also, that diffuser that sits over the burn pot pushes that ash down. The flavorizer bar, the larger one above, pushes that stuff down. And so you might see ash in the barrel and you might see ash in the tray, but you see a substantial decrease in the ash anywhere else that you're going to find on the grill, and that was the most important for us. And so, again, the shop vac days are over where we have a plastic scraper in there where to scrape the ash down into the bottom of the barrel, down into the grease system, pull it out, dump it. That's where the majority of your ash is sitting, and it's not sitting on your food. And the experts that have tested that you look at their feedback, they're really surprised that they don't see more ash flying around the cooker like you would see on traditional pellet grills, but that's because of that diffuser system that's above the hot pot, or the burn pot. So it's not just about that fuel grate that drops the ash down, but it's also the diffuser that pushes it down and the flavorizer bar on top pushing it back down.
All right, let's talk about the recommendation of drip pans, especially if you're going to be cooking, let's say, pork butts or briskets or bigger, fattier pieces. There was posting about, there was never made any reference. And then if you go back through the literature, there does appear to be suggestions from Weber in the paper manuals saying if you're going to do this, you would want to use drip trays. What is the right way to go about it?
Well, the interesting thing is, and so every Weber grill is designed that you don't need to use grease trays or drip pans, right? So you have our charcoal grills. You don't have to use them inside there if you're doing pork butts or brisket. Our gas grill is the same way. But we know, and I know, the least favorite thing for me to do, besides run out of beer when I'm barbecuing, is clean my grill, right? No one likes to do that. It's the thing that, like, oh, God, I got to clean this thing out. And so
the worst. You
don't have to use them on your SmokeFire, but it's going to make your life easier when it comes to cleaning, and it's going to make your life a heck of a lot easier with the grease management because they're going to go into there. Now, is it going to change the performance? Is it going to change anything else? Absolutely not. It was designed to not have them in there, but so was our kettle grills and so was our gas grills. But it's one of those things that we know that people don't like to spend time cleaning, for sure. And so putting them in there alleviates that problem, right? And so you can use it, you can don't. And I'm sure you probably watched Terry's video where he cooked 65 pounds of brisket, beef ribs, and pork shoulder, filled up the whole bottom of the grease tray and had no real issue with grease or ash anywhere. And so when it's used the right way and you're following what you're supposed to be doing, the grill cooks like a charm. But that's some of the hard, the stuff that we're looking at is how people are using it and how they're actually getting those results. Are they cleaning it every time? Are they, how are they cooking? You just don't see. And I'm not placing the blame on people out there because people like to cook the way that they cook. And we need to evolve the process of that, which we're going to do with having the Wi-Fi and the controller so we can update those things. But when it's used the right way, I mean, it cooks. It cooks like something I've never been able to cook on before.
I mean, is it on Weber as a company where if you guys feel that this cooker is performing as it should, it is being presented exactly the way you guys thought it would be, and if other people are having a problem with it because they're not using it the way you are dictating it to be used successfully, it's not necessarily fair for them to then come back and say, well, Weber's made a steaming pile of shit here because I can't put on all this pork butt or whatever and expect to not have potentially bad issues because or bad results because they're not using it the way you're saying that they should use it because they don't want to use it the way you're saying to use it.
Correct. I think it's one of those things that, again, safety being the most important part of what we do when we design grills, because we want people to have the best possible experience in their backyards. We want them to use them per the instructions, right? And that's where following those and using best practices when you cook barbecue is always important. Now, people are going to do what they want to do, and it's hard to understand the hows and the whys, but we as a company can evolve this grill through that controller, which is going to allow us to help with some of that, right? And so you can say people like a kettle grill. I could go cook on my kettle. I love using my 5 and 7-year-old because they know how to cook the right way because they've learned from dad, but they know to keep the lids down. There's some people that cook their burgers and their steaks with the lid off because there's people that have told them, well, if you cook with the lid off, you flip it every 30 seconds. That's the best way to go so the bush doesn't get out and blah, blah. There's a lot of different methodologies out there that people use. But when you do that, you're going to create more flare up and you're going to create more things. And so that's where you can go off of what you want, or you can go off of how we want to instruct you and how to get the best results and how to be safe doing it. And that's where we're always going to sit, is designing a product that is going to give you crazy, amazing barbecue results and be safe to be in your backyard, to be able to cook anything that you want.
Is there any recommendation? This is something that I've just seen over the last handful of days. Should you not be using this grill if it's 30 degrees or below? Is there a temperature restriction?
There isn't a temperature restriction, which is funny because you've seen some feedback that people have given. And I have a friend on Instagram, Brooklyn Scott, which, you know, he got his up and running, and it was minus 25 degrees in Canada when he was cooking. And he was like, this thing is cooking this brisket. I don't have to do anything. I'm sitting inside. And so he had an amazing, so that it's not the temperature. You know, if people want to speculate on that, minus 25 degrees, if you're cooking and it's maintaining itself, when used the right way, it's going to provide you some pretty amazing results. And we're in Chicago. I mean, you guys are in Cleveland, so you're not far off of the weather pattern. It gets extremely cold here and it gets extremely snowy here. And that's something that we've looked at and tested in, and we know that it operates. And so the speculation of the cold temperatures or it can't work in certain temperatures, it isn't something that we're finding, especially at the 30-degree mark, not even close.
All right, Kevin, so that's pretty much all the questions that I had for you that I was able to glean from a bunch of these forums. So as we start to close it up here, and I appreciate you spending, 30, 40 minutes or more here as we're trolling or rolling through these, trolling on the brain, as we roll through these. So I guess as we start to close it out here, is there anything that you would like to say more or less on Weber's behalf to the folks that will listen to this, if they have one? If they're going to be encountering problems, how would you like to address that?
Well, number one, Greg, I was looking forward to getting uncomfortable, and I'm actually really comfortable. I got my feet up right now. I'm actually enjoying this interview, so I look forward to coming back because it's been pretty comfortable. What I would tell people from the Weber side, if they have a SmokeFire grill or a Weber gas grill or a charcoal grill or even our electric grills, if you're having issues, our customer service people are there 7 days a week. We're in Palatine, Illinois. We're always going to answer the phone. We're always going to help you walk through the problems. If you have a SmokeFire grill, and I've helped countless people with them with direct messages and everything else, and it's been fun to get back to my roots of how I started in customer service. And, this grill is going to evolve, and you're going to see some of that over the next couple of weeks and months. And you're going to see a lot more excitement than you are now, because the trolls really aren't going to have much to say, because the people that are cooking are going to be doing the majority of the talking, and that's going to be exciting to see, because it truly is a revolutionary product, because it's not a traditional pellet smoker. It's not designed that way. It was designed to be a grill and a smoker. And, like I said, when I was talking to Max about it, he was just shocked by the performance of it. He was shocked by, this is not like anything I've cooked on before. And you need time to learn it. You need time to understand how it responds and how you cook on it. And that just goes for any pit that you have. It could be a Smoky Mountain. It could be a Summit Charcoal or a gas grill. You need to spend time to understand it. But most importantly, from a company standpoint, we've been so excited to see the impact that this has made in the category and in the barbecue community, because people that have not cooked are having a great time. I've seen more women cooking in forums and posting than I've seen before. And that's another great thing about the pellet industry, is it allows, I think an entry barrier to having women cook more. And that's exciting for me, having 2 daughters and not, having a son, that they have barbecues and grills that they're going to be able to use. So it's an exciting time, and we're excited about the product. But again, we're always going to listen to our consumers. We're always going to pay attention to what they're saying, and we're going to utilize that information to create better grills for them.
All right, Kevin, here's the most uncomfortable question of the night. When am I getting my free Weber SmokeFire in Cleveland? Give me an exact date.
So, Greg, if you take a free SmokeFire, you're going to have to say that Weber gave me a free SmokeFire. Now, I have no problem getting you a SmokeFire to use. I would be honored. Matter of fact, I would be honored to come out and actually do a first cook with you. I know it might be a little difficult to have me in your backyard looking over your shoulder, but I think we could work something out.
That's not specific enough. We got to get uncomfortable. Give me a date.
I would say mid-March. By the time we get it ordered, and shipped out to you.
All right. And you know me, I'm happy to disclose. It has to
go on a truck. It can't go in a UPS truck that, just drops it off at your house, or a FedEx truck. It's got to go on a big old 16-wheeler. So, but we will get you one. I would say mid-March.
This isn't where we try and turn around. You give me the free grill in exchange for like a free Peterbilt or something like that, right?
How dare you?
I think I see what's going on here. Oh my goodness. I think I just got schnookered.
No, Greg. I think I would rather take the 100-day dry age steaks than I would rather take the Peterbilt, because I'm not a good stick driver. I'd probably blow the transmission, the engine, getting down the block, and then I'd be on the blogs. This thing can't drive itself. There's something wrong with it. This truck's bad.
No doubt.
I'll just take the 100-day. I'll take the 100-day dry age steaks, and we'll call it even.
All right. Kevin Coleman is the director of brand education, Weber's Grill Master, and has stayed here for at least 45, maybe 50 minutes, answering all of the questions that I have curated through a bunch of the different Facebook groups, mostly trying to take Weber to task here. And here we go. So if you have any issues or questions going forward, you know where to go, Weber.com, hit up their customer service, and they will continue to perform what they do best, which is serve the customer. In the meantime, Kevin, where are you going to be at here over the next handful of weeks from an appearance standpoint?
So we're going to be going to Las Vegas. We have some stuff going on there. And also we've got a pretty cool event coming up in April, the 23rd, 24th, 25th. So the 23rd, we're taking over the Weber Grill restaurant with Tuffy Stone, Charlie McKenna, Harry Sue, Deuce Raymond, Sweet Baby Ray's nephew, Nick Lau from Dilo up in Canada, Russell Regals, John Brotherton from Texas. Wow. So we're going to do a 7 to 10 course meal for people. We're doing a barbecue camp. It's going to be crazy. And I'll actually be, I think, in Columbus teaching the barbecue science class there that we help co-instruct here in the middle of April. So a lot of cool things going on.
All right. Kevin Coleman is right here answering the questions. Kevin, really appreciate the extended time tonight and all of the answers. Appreciate it so much, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Greg, thanks again for having us on. And yes, mid-March.
All right. You're on record. There he is. Kevin Coleman. Just got uncomfortable, Kevin. Now you got to deliver. Yeah, I mean, for as uncomfortable as that question was, I'm certainly not serious about it. Okay, let's see how we go from here. Kevin Coleman, Weber.com. Plenty to react to as you roll through the chat. Let me quickly take a quick peek here. All right, fair enough. Quick check of the emails. We're good there. Backyard Barbecue Show. How many pellet things you going to have now? All right, well, let's quickly go over that. Traeger Timberline 850. There's a Choice Jim Bowie. There's the Choice Daniel Boone. There's a Prime Daniel Boone. And then if the Weber happens, that would be 5 pellet cookies. There's also a Lang 36-inch offset. There's an Art Flame. There's a Weber gasser that was given to me free by Weber.
How dare you?
I think that's it. Everything else that I don't use has been gifted out to folks around my general area that are fans of live fire cooking. All right, thanks again to Kevin Coleman, Weber's Grill Master, Weber.com, for joining me, and we will wrap it up. Stick around, we'll be right back.
Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Ray Lampe.
All right, we are back, and we are long as we head 11:30 on Tuesday. This portion of the show being brought to you by Smoke Sheet, a free weekly newsletter that keeps you up to speed on everything happening in the barbecue world, including top news, events, recipes, and more. Started by Ryan Cooper, barbecue tourist, and Sean Ludwig, NYC BBQ on social media. Both of them traveling around the country to find the best barbecue and news, then report on it. You can sign up for the newsletter and see the full events on their barbecue calendar at bbqnewsletter.com. That's bbqnewsletter.com. A great all-in-one resource covering the live fire industry. Go ahead and give it a sub, bbqnewsletter.com. Great. Let's beat it out of here so I can get this show up in 30 minutes, at least for the first hour, and get everybody up to speed on the podcast. All the way back in the first hour, it was Malcom Reed from Killer Hogs on his way back tomorrow with his brand new competition trailer. Gonna have to try that Mississippi po' boy that he was talking about as well at the end of that segment. Also, Ray Lampe, Dr. Barbecue, loving restaurant life still. Pellets are a thing, according to Ray. Even last year they were. He's also the spokes-chef for the National Turkey Federation, and Big Green Egg and Ray have called it a day after a 17-year partnership. Second hour, Sam the Cooking Guy, and closing it out for almost an hour on his own, Kevin Coleman from Weber. Big show planned for you next week. As always, Meathead will be in. We'll probably get some more SmokeFire review as we sit through another news cycle on that, as well as other iteens. I believe we might have a rejoin of one Andy Husbands, who I fell in love with on Hell's Kitchen back with it. September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, this is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.
This is Michigan embedded correspondent John Solberg, and you are listening to the Barbecue Central Show.